Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up, everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league, check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
And best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome to the Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm Mike Herrick, aka Classic Mike, and tonight I'm here with my good friend Kendall from the Fantasy Football Tavern. How you doing there, Kendall?
Hey, man. Tavern is open for business. Let's talk some football, bro.
Hey, man, I love it. Excited to talk football with everybody today. Just a quick run through of what we're going to be doing. Last night, we did start off Week 10 with the Bengals versus the Ravens. We're going to give our quick reactions in just a minute. We're going to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of last night. First, just a quick breakdown of what we're going to be going over after that. We're going to go through pretty much the morning slate of the NFL games for this Sunday. So basically, it's going to be Giants, the Patriots, Bills, Vikings, Broncos, and Falcons. So those games we're going to be going over tonight. So just be aware of that. We're also going to be giving our props for those games as well, using no other than our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you guys check out Underdog. We use them for their best ball drafts every year, but we also use them for their pick'em contests as well. Basically, all you do is pick a player's, stats, anything from yardage, touchdowns, and targets, things like that. Anything higher or lower, and we go from there. Make sure you guys, when you guys need, if you haven't already registered, make sure you guys do. And when you do, use promo code GETRIGHT. And when you do, they will help you at checkout. You'll receive a 50% deposit bonus, now up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Any deposit exceeding $2,000 will be capped at $1,000. So just be aware of that. Otherwise, make sure you guys join Underdog and use our promo code GETRIGHT. We're also going to be doing some live Q&A as well at the very end of the show. So if you're new to the show, make sure you guys check out that we are going to be, just make sure you guys know that we're going to be doing it at the very end. Make sure you guys list the format of the league. So full, half, standard, PPR, tight end premium, the whole deal. So list all those. And then, like I said, at the very end of the show, we're going to get to it. Please come back if if it's one of those things where you can, you want to ask the question and then watch later. That's fine too. We're also going to have, the timestamps and things for you guys to go watch it. You can listen to your favorite game. Also, you can go just to live Q&A and listen to it then. But we want to have you guys stick through. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about the 6 game or 6 games plus last night. So we want to keep you guys involved. So make sure you guys are in that chat talking away, and we'll get to it. If you guys want your questions answered right away, make sure you guys use that super chat. That's what it's there for. We will stop the show just for you. So also, if you're brand new to the show and coming on to watch us, this is our new, this is our schedule. We're going to update this at one point. There's also a Saturday show with good old Cody Magoats himself and his buddy, I always forgot his name, Zach. There we go. So Cody and Zach on Saturday night as well. So we're here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So after this show, come back on Saturday. Cody will be here with Zach, and then I'm here on Sunday mornings to help you get ready for our matchups for Sunday. All right. So first and foremost, let's get into talking about the Ravens against the Bengals. Ravens winning 35-34. I'm going to ask this question right off the bat because I need to. You go for 2, right? Or do you go into overtime? What do you do here? We had the same scenario happen on Monday night where they should be going for 2. And what do? They don't do it. And then this group does. They don't get it. Do you go into overtime?
I mean, personally, I go for 2 just because you have a lot of momentum in that particular game. Like, I think this is one of the worst questions for a fantasy analyst to answer, right? Because, like, anyone who's played any amount of sports knows that there are certain games and there are certain games, and how is the vibe? It's hard to know actually how is everyone's lungs. Like, that's one thing you really can't tell while watching something without physically being there is how gassed are they. Yeah. And that's a coaching feel, right? I'm going to trust a good coach's decision, but I don't think Zach Taylor's the best coach in the world. So I'm not going to just say the other decision is always better. I think from what I know and the information I had, I probably would have gone for 2. It was egregious that there wasn't at least 2 flags.
Oh, there should have been 2 flags. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that contributed. Personally, I'm going for 2, but I'm not always a go for 2. Like, a lot of people are like, I'm always going for 2. I'm not always doing that. I would have there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right here, I mean, I was with a buddy of mine last night, and, you know, we were both watching the game pretty closely. And at that point, we were just sitting there like, you know, he had Jamar Chase, I had Burrow, you know, I had, you know, a couple other guys too, like Henry. And, you know, I'm like, go to overtime, like kick it. And then we see them line up for it. And then, you know, they try to draw them off. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now kick it. Like, you know, just go kick it. And then they set up for the, you know, so it was a very good game. So for those that didn't watch, you need to go back and watch it. It was a, you know, spectacular game overall. You know, so some of the good that happened from this game, of course, like I just said, Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, they both had amazing games last night. So you're happy as a clam if you have one of the 2. If you have both, you're even happier. Screw you, Rasta. So there were Joe had 428 passing yards, 4 touchdowns for good old Joe Burrow. 264 of those particular passing yards went to Jamar Chase. And 3 of those touchdowns went to him as well. He had a monster day. Wow, just Madden numbers, in my opinion. Chase Brown was heavily involved with 9 catches on 11 targets, 52 yards receiving. You know, he had 42 on the ground and a little short touchdown, which is nice for him. So he's being used pretty well. And, you know, I can expect him to do that moving forward, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I at least I am. I'm expecting it. I don't know whether you should or not. I'm going to go ahead and expect it, and I think I'm going to be right more often than not.
Okay. We also had Lamar having a really good day. You know, overall, he's having a really great season. Best numbers I've seen from him in quite some time. I was very low on him, but actually can't be that way anymore. So he's doing everything he can on the ground, but through the air, he had 290 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. 33 rushing yards. He had a wonderful, wonderful night. Came close to rushing in a touchdown, but to have it brought back, you know, just missing it. And then, of course, King Henry himself decided to score that touchdown. So, you know, Derrick Henry had a decent, mediocre night, 68 yards for 16 carries. Almost lost his draws. That was funny. Mark Andrews came out to play today. Or last night. 6 catches on 7 targets, 68 yards and a touchdown. Wow. Good for him. Really glad that they're starting to involve him a little more. Rashad Bateman he was used heavily in this game. He was 6 catches on 8 targets, 54 yards and a touchdown. He looked really good last night.
What are you thinking about
Bateman? Yeah, I was just going to say.
Look, he's 24 years old. He was a good prospect. I liked him. I like that Lamar is developing into a legitimate passer. He has legitimate touch, and his ability to be accurate on a deep ball, I think, is really underrated. I do think he's starting to get some natural ability to some of it. So I'm liking it. Bateman, I don't think has much of a ceiling right? I mean,
No.
this offense is putting up, it's college numbers, right? So take it with a grain of salt. Like, there's 300 passing yards. Lots of people should put up stuff, right? Unless someone put up 150, but that didn't really happen with anybody. So it's elevated. If you just reduce the passing volume by like 20, 30%, which probably regresses more to the mean, take everyone's stats and do that, all of a sudden you're left with a little bit of a disappointment. So I think it's encouraging to see the involvement, and his play is a little bit better. But I don't see him being able to. He's not a guy that I see passing up anybody. Does that make sense? Like, some guys we see, hey, their talent, they could jump somebody in the depth chart.
No,
this is why we like ambiguity, because chaos, things can really happen and really shift around. We'll get to Tyrone Tracy in a little bit, right? That's like ambiguity. That's why we liked him. We were on him. He had a real pathway to get there. Say with like a Chase Brown. I don't see him as having a real pathway to get past anything. I mean, he's still less involved than Mark Andrews, who was droppable a couple weeks ago, right? So
I dropped him.
This is not a dynasty show, right? So maybe there's a little more runway, but like, I don't see ever playing Bateman in redraft this year. I just don't see it working out for you. You need a 60-point over/under to get a reasonable game. It's a little bit of fool's gold. Andrews is the one that I think's more interesting because he's actually startable now, in my opinion. So I think that's the more interesting Ravens pass catcher.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the other guy that ended up getting a little bit more is not who you think he is. It's Tylan Wallace, who is their special teams. Yeah, exactly. Their special teams wide receiver. He was also, he was involved on a big 84-yard touchdown. He had 113 yards altogether. He pretty much had one big catch and then kind of ran it in, and then they gave him a ball a couple times. But beyond that, that's pretty much the good that happened in that game. I mean, there was a lot more good than there was bad, which is good. The bad, when we use bad, it's really mediocre. Zay Flowers had a very underwhelming night, only had 4 catches on 6 targets and 36 yards. I know it's weird to think that, 6 targets is a underwhelming night, but he did very little with those targets. They didn't try to stretch the field with him a lot. They tended to use Bateman a little bit more to stretch the field. But I think that the game plan was really just to contain Henry and double Zay. You saw a lot of times, the coverage pull to him after, whenever there was like a split, and they would just. He
was open when the ball left the hands, but he was not remotely open by the time it got there.
That too.
And I think it was a nice job by the defense.
Oh, for sure.
I'll just say that he had, I think, 2 passes that come to mind of at least 20, 25 yards that were broken up in a very good defensive play.
Yeah.
Those don't happen. Add 50 yards to his total, and all of a sudden you have a really, really nice day. So I think the usage was absolutely there. Sometimes defenses choose to play well. I don't think it was his fault.
No, and he's always been a boom bust guy, in my opinion. There's a lot of times where he can blow up, but then there's other times that he can pretty much, you're sitting on your hands waiting for something to happen, but he is a big part of the offense. But,
I mean, give him the assist on 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the big Andrews catch. Coverage.
Yeah. Well, that was
they're covering other people, right?
Yeah. They're basically.
Tylan Wallace was a broken tackle, but still there was no help after that, right? There was no safety help. So that's what I'm saying. This is good for Zay. This is Baltimore saying we're going to keep hyper targeting Zay because the second someone takes him away, they're in trouble.
Sure. Yep.
Right. So he's still the 1A. I mean, he's still that guy. If anything, like, I look at this game and say it's encouraging. He's reached that level of like, no, you're drawing all the attention. Yep. Now let's see what happens. I want to see, can he beat like the Surtain level?
We'll see. I mean, that's going to be a tough matchup for him to get again. They really had a tough time against him in that, matchup earlier in the year. The ugly of this game was Deontay Johnson. He's getting to the point where he feels droppable. I know that he's new to the offense. He's starting to try to get accommodated. We're trying to see chemistry, being involved with Lamar. He just had a really rough night. He had 2 targets. He missed a really big catch that he should have had, and he would have had a good 20, 25 yards off of it. I know it's going to take some time. He's currently like 4th or 5th in the pecking order. So until we see those snaps increase, he's really kind of garbage at this point. So beyond that, everything else, anything that we missed here?
The only for there's a lot of dynasty implications, but my only things I leave for redraft are like Burrow is basically my QB2, and in him and Lamar,
Yeah.
In 6-point passing touchdowns, no, Burrow's my QB1. It's not particularly close. I think in tougher matchups, Lamar might be the safer play because of that floor, right? But Burrow's absolutely right there. So I'm willing to overpay. I think Burrow's a championship winner. I don't love his week 15, 16, and 17 matchups, which is kind of what's killing it. If there were good matchups, I would overpay massively. But Tennessee, Cleveland, and then I forget, week 17 is just mediocre. I think it might be the Chargers. It's just not great. So, but I mean, 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Like, I think he might be defensive proof. And I know Jamar Chase is definitely defense. Remember when the Ravens were supposed to be a great defense?
Well, they're getting beat up on the they lost Humphrey, who was hurt, and then they tried to get White, who isn't available yet, and everything. Their secondary is beat up, and now that Kyle Hamilton's down, that's even worse. So it's gonna really hurt this defense moving forward. But you're right, they have the Bengals.
Like, I'm not even looking at team defenses. Like, unless you have a shut down corner, I don't think you're beating the Bengals. And Burrow has this for him. I'll mention this in my second quick point here, but they run through the air. I don't think they have a great running scheme, so that short passing game is kind of how they move the chains a little bit. Like, Burrow's always looking for the deep shot, and his gain 5 yards is still a passing play. That really elevates his passing numbers over the course of the game, right? That's an extra 50 to 75 yards that Chase is catching that is adding to his stats. So
100%.
Burrow's the guy. I think he's a championship winner. I want to do what I can. If Burrow has a bad game, I'm actively looking for a bad game in the next 2 weeks. Find a game to suck, because I will buy him for whatever it takes. Chase Brown is Gibbs light. I have him in my top 10 rest of season. That passing usage is outrageous. I mean, if your take is like, no, he's good for this season, he'll be just next year, they're gonna whatever. I don't care. Like, this year in this offense with how good it is, like, he's Jahmyr Gibbs without David Montgomery. That's what he is right now. Less talented, but like we had 11 targets, I think.
Yeah, until they can get Khalil Herbert. He had 11 targets. And until we get Khalil Herbert up to speed over there, I agree 110%. He looks good. They're using him. They're involving him a lot. I like him.
He didn't even have a good game, too. Like, we like Chase Brown because
he's not
he was explosive. He's supposed to be able to rip off big stuff. He hasn't ripped off that much stuff. Remember we saw Devon Achane be really consistent to start the year, but he wasn't ripping off any 60, 70 yarders.
No.
And we're like, yeah, but who cares? Look at the passing usage. And we're like, nope, Achane, Chase Brown is doing what Devon Achane was kind of doing, where it's like, hey, he's not ripping off the crazy, ridiculous, explosive runs, but he's listening to the coaching staff. He's just doing what it takes. And rewind a couple of those plays, Chase Brown was very good in pass protection. If you look at it, he's a tiny little dude, but he absolutely made some crazy good blocks. And a couple of touchdowns, he was involved blocking a bigger person. There's no way the coaching staff doesn't go into the film room and say, 30 just blocked about 100 more pounds than he's worth over there. That's going to earn you playing time. And when you're a pass catching back, you just need to be on the field after you block. Then you can catch. I'm all on Chase Brown. And Andrews is startable. I like him over Kincaid at this point because of the touchdown upside.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I agree with all those takes. I really do. Definitely target those guys in your leagues if you're a contender. So since we are in week 10 this week, at this point, we have 4 teams on a bye. We have the Browns, Packers, Raiders, Seahawks. Everybody's on the bye. So, yeah, this is one of our bye nados, if you will.
I love it.
Basically, we have Cedric Tillman, Nick Chubb, Njoku, Winston, whole bunch of guys. I'm not going to list them all. We'll be here all day. But we have a bunch of guys out on a bye, so we're here to help. So first, we're going to be talking about the Germany game, the good old one game that everybody's going to want to wake up for, right? I don't think a lot of people are going to be waking up for this one. So
my Jonathan Brooks shares need me to wake up for this game.
We'll talk about that in a minute. So we got the Giants, who are 2-7, going against the Panthers, who are 2-7. Giants are favored by 6.5 in this game. The over/under for this game is 40.5. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that number. Everything looks good in a way. It's a little mediocre on that one end. Some notable injuries to talk about. On the Giants side of the ball, we have Darius Slayton. He hasn't progressed out of concussion protocol. He did not travel with the team, so he will not be playing in this one. He is going to be ruled out automatically if they haven't already. I don't remember them doing it or not. Jonathan Brooks, he's been activated off of IR. Now, remember, there is a difference between being activated and designated to return. So remember that for when you guys watch Rasta and Phil later on when they talk about Nico Collins. Everybody has a little bit of a different interpretation of what's going on here. So he's activated off IR, which means he is able to play. So he should be good, and he's making his debut. Nothing is in stone as per Dave Canales. So it's not like he will play, and if he does, there's really no guess on how much he will. I know they're doing that on purpose, but it is what it is. So let's talk about that aspect of it. We just had Chuba Hubbard get a new contract, 4 years, $33 million, $15 million guaranteed. Good for Chuba. I'm happy for him. I know everyone's kind of weird about what's going on and why he got these numbers, but let's not focus on that at the moment. How does these, we need to include it in our, thought process, but how does this affect Jonathan Brooks making his debut? How do you see this, backfield moving forward for Carolina?
So I think it makes more sense for them to keep Chuba, to be honest. And here was the thought that I had somewhat recently today, just when we were kind of like going through like our scripts and kind of what we're thinking. And full disclosure, I own way too much Jonathan Brooks. For me, it was just one of those. I like to invest in backs that I think the market will massively overreact to, and I can either hold or I can sell for a full haul. This was I'm going to overpay now to sell for even higher later on. Okay. And then this happened. Yeah. So actual disaster, stock market crash, right? I bought to sell, and now I have to hold in down market, basically. Oh, yeah. It's a disaster. But I think the contract really freaked people out. Here's where I'm at with it. 15 mil guaranteed, which kind of means there's like some not necessarily voidable years, but very tradable.
Yeah, very movable. Yeah.
It's not a contract that is going to make him untradeable if that looks like where they want to go. So I'm saying even in year 2, very movable to the right team, right? This is a get it done. I mean, this is the type of deal you'd make if no one's offering you enough.
Surprised that the teams didn't make this type of deal.
I'll just sign him, and in the off season, this could be kind of like a sign and trade situation, but for later. I can very much see something like that happening. And why wouldn't they hold for better days? Because they currently have an injured Jonathan Brooks. Wouldn't they want to ease him in or figure that out? Or God forbid something happens. What if he pulls, a J.K. Dobbins in his, glass that breaks twice? You want to have a guy that good, and it's hard to find a Chuba. I mean,
100%. Chuba has been very productive overall. He's been a very
find.
Oh yeah.
So good stuff, and they want to throw the ball less than 10 times a game if they can. So this is not a terrible situation to kind of mimic Detroit, right? Mm-hmm. Where, they might want to really, really just bruising, run the ball, invest in an O-line.
Most teams have to. It's not like every team in the league has just a, bell cow guy. And Henry isn't even a bell cow guy if you look at the numbers. So all teams run at least 2 running backs in one way or another. So it's smart for them to keep a guy like Chuba who's been productive, and then keeping a guy like Jonathan Brooks who they invested in the draft, and use them accordingly and try to spell one and, make it a 60-40 type split like most teams have been doing. I like it. I like the move. I told people at the beginning of the year that you shouldn't really be investing that much in Jonathan Brooks because I didn't think he'd be playing until after, Halloween. And we've gotten to that point where it's almost 2 weeks after and a week after, and you're kind of like, hey, what do I do from here? Well, you only have 7 weeks left in your season. If you think he's going to be your league winner, it's not going to happen at this point because they took their time with him. I think that he might be flex worthy maybe near the end of the year, and that's if he's productive. That line needs a lot of work. I think that he's, I think for this particular offense.
Thankfully, pass catching wise, though, they don't have anybody anymore, right? So what is that?
they're going to
Do you
They're
think
gonna
he
check down.
legitimately looks like Gibbs is such a ridiculous comp at this point because of the lack of
It's
weapons?
too high
Is
of a
I guess
comp
my
for
point.
Brooks. That's my
very, very, very true, and honestly, kind of
Using
different
the-
players. I mean,
using the
situation
type.
and what the team wants to do, not comparing the player to the player, but the player's role.
Yeah,
in the
no,
offense.
that honestly, that's a positive. Like it will definitely, hopefully, I think that's what they're looking for. They definitely need to build next year in the draft. Go with a bunch of linemen and try to build that part of their particular game. Everything starts in the trenches. So for them to start, gathering line assets to help those guys, I think that's going to be a huge part of it. So we'll wait and see. But I do think that moving forward, Chuba is a solid RB2 with Jonathan Brooks, kind of a bench stash for now, and then maybe a low end flex play. But we don't know.
Who knows, right?
We'll find out. It's just one of those you got to kind of wait and see. So let's go to the Giants side of the ball for this one. Giants have an amazing matchup. I mean, you can look at all the games that have happened in the last few weeks. Right now, Darius Slayton isn't making it. Wandell's there. We got Jalen Hyatt, who's going to be stepping in for Slayton this week. And then Malik Neighbors. Is this a get right game for a guy like Wandell?
I think so. I mean, my biggest take is that this is a great a matchup for Daniel Jones, and a good matchup for a rushing quarterback, let alone I think he's a very strong streamable quarterback. And so by extension, of course, I like all the pass catchers. Wandell had a touchdown called back the other day, right? So he's clearly being used as they over protect
I was so
Neighbors.
mad about that. That was such a bad call.
Yeah, it really was. I think the whole team does well. I don't think there's we're trying to reach, because I also like Theo, right? I want Neighbors to catch every ball under the sun. I want Tyrone Tracy to get involved, right? So it's a lot of mouths, but just Slayton not being there is enough for me to say, dude, Wandell's not leaving the field in many cases. And I think that his snap share being where it is, and without Slayton there, I think he's gonna have a really nice game.
Nice. I think so too. I think this matchup's perfect for them. Giants defense is another one that I like a lot in this one. Just the type of matchup that we have for this, just because of just lackluster Panthers offense, if you will.
What are you looking forward to most as you are a Giants fan?
I am.
And check this out. Favored. You haven't seen that favored word in a while. 6.5. But you're almost a touchdown favorite. You're getting up to watch this, right? Are you day drinking tomorrow? What do you want to see as a Giants fan? Walk me through what is the one thing you want to see as a Giants fan, as a franchise fan? What do you want to see?
I want to see the defense step up and do what they need to do. I think the Giants, that's their strength at this point. Definitely want to see the offense go, move the ball and get touchdowns. I mean, honestly, we haven't seen that at all this year for the most part. It's been very difficult for them to actually get, move the ball downfield and actually score. We tend to kick a lot more field goals than we should. But at this point, I definitely would love to see them just, get a good rhythm going, and then, not have to gas our defense to the point where we're unable to do anything else, because that's what ends up, happening. Hope, Deontay Banks gets the message to start picking up his shit and start doing his job. So, we'll wait and see how it all goes. It should be a fun matchup. I'll be watching it while on the show with you guys on Sunday morning, and give you guys updates as the game goes on. So definitely come back and, watch the game with me, if you will, during my Sunday morning show, and I'll answer your questions leading up to kickoff as well. Lots of questions for these games for a couple guys. So let's get into our props for this game. My props for this game is Xavier Legette, higher than 3.5 receptions. He's the lead dog now. No Adam Thielen. They just traded away Jonathan Mingo. The only other guy there is Jalen Coker. They're going to have to get him involved one way or another. Deontay Banks is definitely beatable. I can tell you that right now. I do like the kid. He's not what he isn't playing to his best caliber. So I'm going to take full advantage of that. 3.5 points. Easy. Done.
I like it. And I like Daniel Jones. I think the number is a little too low. Panthers can't stop anything, and I like Daniel Jones higher than 199.5 passing yards. Just feels like a low number in a spot where we're saying we like the Giants pass catchers. I can't like the Giants pass catchers if I don't
Without
like passing
liking
yards.
Daniel
So
Jones.
let's bring it on. You want to sprinkle an additional leg to that? I think you can even go up to pick. You could put 3 together. You could easily go just pick 3 pass catchers or pick 2 pass catchers plus Jones, and I think that's probably a plus EV bet given the numbers. I like the numbers on Wandale. The numbers on Neighbors are aggressive, but he's stupid good. And I don't know if I saw the numbers, but I think Theo's number. I feel like after last week, I feel like he's going to trend up a little bit. I'm going to be looking to find some good numbers on him too.
I like Theo a lot in this game. So let's move on to the Patriots versus the Bears. Patriots are 2-7 going against the Bears, who are 4-4. So your Bears, we get to go right from our Giants to our Bears here, which is fantastic. Bears are favored by 6. So another matchup where your team is favored by 6 and my team is favored by 6. So that's always nice to see. The over-under for this game is 38.5. Real weak overall. No notable injuries. So that's
we have a lower over-under than the Giants Panthers. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, for sure. But yet there are no injuries, which is fantastic. So we're glad to hear that. So let's talk about some players in this particular game. For me, it's about the quarterbacks in this matchup. You have you have a rookie and a rookie, one that went 1-2. So this matchup is going to be quite interesting. How do you feel about that particular matchup overall?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Caleb's going to put up crazy numbers. I want him to. But the Patriots, from what I'm looking at, have mostly been gashed through the running game this year. They just don't have the personnel. Our identity is kind of let's run through Swift and let the game come to him. And I think that's a fine way to get right after last week. So I think we're going to lean on Swift, but I want to see the play calling. Like, let's use this game, team. Let's use this game to find some good looks. I want to see Caleb, get in sync with DJ. I want to throw some very particular drawn up balls for Rome. Let's get that working. If I think the coaching staff I'm going to give them just enough credit to say, hey, I think they're going to try to run through Swift, but they know that the season isn't going to be one on Swift. The season and the franchise is going to be one on Caleb doing his thing. They're going to highlight Caleb because if they don't do it here, who else are you going to do it against? And what's that going to feel like? If you want to keep your job, highlight your boy and make him play. So I think Caleb's going to be good, not awesome, though. Like, I'm not prop betting a bunch of Caleb stuff, right? But I think he's going to be good. I think Swift has a particularly good game.
Okay, I like that. I mean, these are your 2 favorite quarterbacks from, at least rookie drafts that I remember.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? I was definitely more on May in terms of cost for sure.
Exactly. Oh, no, this is 1-3. I misspoke. It was 1-3, not 1-2. But still, it's great to see that this is the case. We have a question from Smitty, and I have another question from Tacombe too. So the Smitty, so he's getting fucked up by the Jamar Chase, and he's trying to see what he should do. Should he start Drake May over Stafford for the upside?
I wouldn't. Stafford has one of the higher over-unders on the week, and his guys are getting healthy at the right time. Stafford could have a 4-touchdown game. Vegas expects it to light things on fire. This is a 38 over-under. Vegas doesn't think it's going to be explosive. The Bears' strength is our secondary. Drake May is good, but he's not better than our secondary. I do think the rushing will be there, but you're looking at the game slightly the wrong way, this Smitty. I see this as May gives you a much safer floor with the rushing, right? Where I'm not saying Stafford he's got a decent floor too, but May with the rushing is going to be fine. But I don't think he has an incredible ceiling in this game against the Bears, a low over-under and a grindy game. I can't see him getting much more than 24, 25 points on a great game. And that's not enough. Stafford with his weapons and what could be a rocket show with not great defenses, that's your only realistic shot at putting up those numbers.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those scenarios for me. You currently have Drake May, who's going against the Bears, who are now at this point the top top defense against the quarterback right now. They are number 1 against QBs. The Dolphins are number 3. I can see Stafford doing a lot more with what he has over what Drake May can do with who he has. So for me, overall, I would prefer to play Stafford just because his ceiling is a lot higher. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine. And that game is a 50 and a half point over under. I'd rather be involved with that than being involved with something like Drake May in this case. We have Taco
MG.
Taco MG. We'll just leave it at that. I like it. Drake May or Aaron Rodgers this week.
I'm going Rodgers. I like the way that offense is gelling, and they have a running back that probably will catch as many touchdowns as rush him in. I'm getting good vibes. That team's hitting at the right time, and the offensive weapons are there.
Okay.
That one's closer than the previous one. I have Stafford over Rodgers this week because of the matchup. But the Cardinals, their defense looked good the other week because they were playing the Bears, but they're not super strong. And I think Rodgers plus the weapons, they're only getting better each week. I'm going Rodgers, but I could be convinced the other way. I mean, do you see it the same way, or what do you think?
No, I like the matchup overall.
May just doesn't have a ceiling for me, man. It's more like an I'm not doing May this week, and I'm high on him. I like him.
I can't go May unless you. May is pretty low in my rankings overall. I'm not really looking for a guy like May right now to be my starter. May is 20th in my rankings over guys that, are a little bit higher up, like Rodgers at 17. I'd feel a little bit better playing in a 1 QB situation.
I'd rather have Herbert for sure.
Oh, Herbert. I have Herbert. I have over him currently. I have Herbert, Tua, Kyler, Goff, Mahomes, and Bo Nix, Matthew Stafford. I got a bunch of guys.
There's so many names. That. Look at that. You just got 7 of them. Yeah. So
and that's
I like
not even the bottom of
but...
that's not even the top. But no, don't try to be cute. Play your starters. That's how it should go.
Good question though. I'm glad you asked it because I think that's
for sure. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I saw those questions and I'm like, that's perfect for what we're talking to. If you have questions that are watching currently and you guys want them brought up, we're going to be talking about the next 4 games are going to be, let me see, Bills and Colts, Vikings and Jaguars, Broncos and Chiefs, Falcons and Saints. We're going to be talking about those games in the next few minutes. So make sure if you have a question about them, throw it in the chat. We'll bring it up as we talk about it because it could be something that we, are currently talking about, breaking down that game. So make sure you guys throw it in there. If you guys want your question answered a little faster, don't worry. Throw that super chat out there and we'll help you out.
We help the beer fund, baby. Come on.
Yeah, there you go. So let's move on to our props here. So for me, Austin Hooper is my prop. Austin Hooper, higher than 1.5 receptions. He's done it the last few weeks. I feel like this is a very doable number for this particular matchup. I have to remember if Brisker is out or not. You would know better than I do.
You'd think I would, but sometimes I selectively when the Bears are having a bit of a rough spot. Sometimes I have to choose to not know my own team as well as I do because it's a little too frustrated to get through the workday. So I subconsciously I probably know. I'm repressing.
I feel like I saw him on the injury report, and I'm trying to remember if he was. Oh, he is out. So Javon Brisker, I knew I saw him on the report. So he's out for the game. I like this a lot. I really do. So I'm going to go with Austin Hooper higher than 1.5 receptions. What about you?
I mean, look, this is kind of a want more than a need here, man. But, look, if they're even a little bit smart, this is going to hit. So if I lose money, I also just lose faith in my own team. So please be with me here. DJ Moore, I'm taking the higher than half a touchdown. I think he gets in the end zone. I hope Caleb's dad's talking to him and be like, look, man, I know his coaching staff's calling some weird shit. Stuff's all over the place. DJ's your boy. Yeah. All right. He's going to make you look good. Make him look good. I don't care if you're winning by 40 points. Get him in the end zone. And I think he's played enough ball to know that you got to help your boy out here, man. So I think DJ gets in, and I think he also does it on the higher than 46.5 receiving yards. That just seems like a stupid number. If he gets in the end zone, he's getting thrown some deep balls. He's going to get there. So if this doesn't happen, I don't know what to think anymore, but this is such a low number for a great wide receiver in a pretty good matchup for a team. So if you can't hit this, I don't know.
Okay. All right. I'm liking it. Liking those props. So let's move to the Bills and the Colts. Bills are 7-2 as the Colts are 4-5. They're going to be going out to Indianapolis to visit them. Right now, Buffalo is favored by 3.5. The over-under for this game is 46.5. So a reasonably, reasonable over-under for this game. Some notable injuries to be aware of for this game. Michael Pittman did not practice all week. He is ruled out with his back injury. This is going to affect him all year long. Get rid of him. If you have him on your team, just get rid of him. It's not worth it. I have him on one of my
surgery.
teams.
Your team's not doing shit. Why didn't you just get surgery, man?
Just move on. It's not worth going any farther. Keon Coleman, he's also been ruled out with a wrist injury. Amari Cooper also has a wrist injury, but he is limited and is questionable for this particular game.
Mm-hmm.
So
I want to see the memes about who's got the stronger wrist over here.
Yeah, right. I mean, they were talking about trying to put have a brace for him so that it's a little bit easier, and they were trying to catch with it. So we'll wait and see how that goes overall with Amari Cooper. I don't see him being someone that you really want to be involved with, but that's my biggest question. How do we feel about Cooper right now if he's active? Are you going to play him with confidence, or is he somebody that you're kind of just waiting and, let's just move on?
Yeah, I mean, if I have him, he's a flex, not a wide receiver 2. I hope. I mean, if he's my wide receiver 2, something bad happened, right? Like your season's probably already over at this point, right? So it feels like a game where, much like the previous game I mentioned, DJ Moore, I think from an offensive standpoint, I think the coaching staff here is smarter than the Bears, and I think they're going to force the ball in Amari's hands if and when they can, because they're a playoff team and they're in the. I think they're smart enough to know it's all about beating the Chiefs. How do we figure out a way to get there?
Stay healthy.
You got to stay. That's a big thing. But even if you are healthy, what if you're not good enough when you're healthy? They have to be good enough when they're healthy, and getting Amari involved in the offense and developing chemistry between him and the quarterback is going to be essential to any sort of a run. I mean, think of the dynasty players out there. They did the same thing as a real life team, right? They just bought a depreciating, aging asset because they want to win right now while they have their window, right? They're going to use them just like you. If you spend a first round pick on somebody, I don't care. You're playing them, right? Like you did it to play him. So I'm playing Amari. I don't love when I say I don't love the matchup, I don't love the way that the Bills' passing offense is playing realistically, so it doesn't really have much to do with the matchup. I just don't think they need to use Amari, but I feel like the defense in the matchup's weak enough that if they want to orchestrate a way to get Amari a few touches and in the end zone, they probably can, and I think it's more than likely they will. So I am starting him. If you have a better flex than him, it's got to be a pretty elite flex. It's the Bipocalypse, so because of that, he's definitely in your lineup for the most part.
Yeah, I can agree with that to a point. I prefer Khalil Shakir.
And like a Jacoby Myers, like Khalil Shakir and Jacoby Myers they're like a similar archetype. I kind of like them a little bit more.
I like them a lot more, to be honest. But if Jacoby Myers isn't playing this week, you got to go with Shakir. So I mean, I like Shakir a lot in this game. I think he has a good window for something. Colts are only 22nd against the wide receiver in this case. I do like the matchup for the most part. Are you playing, so with Michael Pittman out, does this move up Josh Downs for you and move him into a top 10, top 15 wide receiver?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, I love the talent. I love the kid. I think he's fantastic. Like, here's how much I love him. I sold him for a first-round pick in Dynasty the other day, and I think I fucked up.
So you want to know a funny story?
Yes.
I sold Josh Downs for Jordan Mason.
Woo! That's more of a pro Jordan Mason take, though, right? Like that's more of
that's a pro Josh Downs take that I got him for a steal.
Oh, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down now.
Literally
Oh,
now, like I
you
sold
bastard.
him
Oh
yesterday.
my God, that's amazing. Look, I bought Downs for a second everywhere, and everyone snap accepted it in the offseason. Like I was buying nothing. I'm like, you have no idea how good this guy
I was
is.
so happy.
That's how big I am on Downs, though. The talent and the long-term talent.
Oh, yeah.
I think I messed up by selling him for a first-round pick, to be honest. Like
I'm
I think I gave that person a good. Yeah, I think he's I think he's actually elite talent-wise, and he's even being held back right now. Like these 20-point games are like what he should be averaging with decent quarterback play. So yeah, I think he's going to be in a great spot here.
You gotta, and you gotta hope it's in a full PPR league. I mean, I have him in a half and a full, and I'm very happy with what he could produce for me moving forward, especially with Flacco at this point, being at quarterback. So
that being said, I don't think the Colts have a very good game. I'm sort of off.
They're going to have to be
Flacco's
from behind.
They're going to have to, but dude, the Bills are crushing better teams and better weapons and better quarterbacks. Like if you're saying, oh, but Flacco is doing his thing, and
their line has been weak.
They're beat up, right? All they kind of have is JT. Josh Downs is not an alpha 1. He's a 2 that can hurt.
I'm a little nervous. I'm like slightly nervous about his durability overall. Like he's been doing well, but he was coming back from injury. And then when he came back, he did well with Flacco. And then, they switched it back and forth. And then now he's got Flacco. And honestly, I can see this turning into a really good thing. I hope so, because he seems to be the one, the number one there. Alec Pierce seems to kind of get involved here and there. And he loves throwing to his tight ends like Grayson. So it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup overall. I'm really excited for this one.
When we get to the props, that'll tell you what I think about this game. This is
right.
There's a lot of bets I would actually put on this game just because I have a feeling about it. But
So I'm going to go right to the props because I have a rare defensive player prop for this one because Underdog does do defensive players. They also do kickers. They do everybody. So for me, I have a rare defensive prop. It's Zaire Franklin on the Colts. He's their middle linebacker, higher than 5.5 solo tackles. I think he can do it. This guy puts up a ridiculous amount of tackles per game. Reason why I bring him up is because the Bills tend to like to run the ball a little bit more recently, and he's just very good in coverage as well. And they're going to be a lot of underneath things. My thought process, it's a lot of underneath where he lives and he will eat. So for me, I'm a big fan of Zaire Franklin, higher than 5.5. What about you?
Yeah, I think this game is going to suck. I think it's going to be unwatchable.
Okay.
I got the feeling that the Colts are going to look so anemic.
Okay.
And JT, as good as he is, they got nothing else. It's going to be so easy.
Oh, don't tell me lower than. Oh.
Yeah, lower than 80.5 is his line against a team that's killing everybody. I mean, no. This is a team that literally took him off. This is a coaching staff that took him off the field in the fourth quarter in a close game because, we're passing the ball. No, man,
he's involved everywhere.
This game's going to get so far out of hand, they might take him out just because it's out of hand. This is the game that's going to get so far out of hand with the Bills that it's going to be why are we running out JT to get injured. I see it getting out of control. I see it. Both teams are going to run the ball. Like the Colts' only prayer is to keep the game so slow that neither team, if they just kick field goals, it'll somehow maintain a one-possession game.
Well, the reason why it's that high is because Buffalo is the worst against the running back. They are 31st, so they are the second worst against running backs. So I understand the line. I don't want it. I want him to be above that. I have JT in pretty much,
I
the
took him at the 1-2 turn everywhere. I hate this bet. I just feel like they're 31st against the run. But all they have to do is stop JT. I mean, that's it. That's all they have to do.
No, you're right.
So
you're right.
We'll
and
see.
Then what's your other one?
I think Kincaid. I like him higher in 45.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
It's not as strong as my JT play. I just feel like the Bills are going to put up points. I feel like Kincaid has been a consistent force in their offense, and I think he's going to add some more consistency in this game where. Like Amari's known to disappear before, right? He's already got a banged up wrist. They're down Keon. Like I think Kincaid is just going to soak up just enough to get there. I don't think he has a crazy game, but it just seems like a really low number when a big part of their offense is. I mean, he's at a 100-yard game the other day. All those yards got to go somewhere. I think
Okay.
Kincaid probably profits a little bit. I could have easily switched over to Shakir. I just happened to go with Kincaid.
All right. I like it. I like it. Don't like the JT one, but I do like the Kincaid one.
Me and you both, man. I win more money if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You know, in like a weird way, but
I'll take it. I'll take it if you win more money if you're wrong. So let's go and move on to the next game. We're getting close to the very end, so get those questions in the chat. We are going to talk about the Vikings, who are 6-2, going to visit the Jaguars in Jacksonville at 2-7. Minnesota is favored by 7. I see this going up in the next 2 days or two. The over-under for this game is 43. The biggest injury to be aware of, if you didn't look at the thumbnail at all, you should, because it's trending towards Trevor Lawrence not playing, which means Mac Jones is going to be under center for this particular matchup. So the other bit of news is Brian Thomas. He's been limited all week. He should be playing, but he's been limited. Gabe Davis as well, but both of them have been in non-contact jerseys all week. Just be aware of this. That's why you come back on Sunday and I tell you if they're going to be playing or not. This is going to be a very. You said the.
I was just saying it's what I
Colts
said,
and
but
Bills,
worse.
This is worse. This game is going to be quite interesting. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, if you will. Mac Jones under center. Can you trust him in this offense or any of the receiving options in your lineup this week? Can you trust guys like Evan Ingram, being the main ball catcher in this one?
You can't trust him, but you have to. If you own him, you're playing him because Ingram is the one guy I think that will be okay because he's their safety valve. He's the guy that runs a get open route.
I was
Can't
going to
trust
say
anybody else, including BTJ. You cannot trust BTJ.
No, it's hard
not
to
because you can't trust him, but he's a receiver, and it takes 2 to tango. And you catching my drift here.
No,
Vikings have a great defense. They're playing
against
Mac
wide
Jones.
receiver, too.
Not okay for Mac.
No.
Yeah, the Vikings are gonna beat the shit out of them.
It's not even gonna be fun. It's gonna be a rough one. My biggest I got one. Evan Ingram or Sam Laporta.
Laporta. I'll do buy the dip on Laporta.
Okay. All right.
He's had Laporta is one of those, like, if you follow like graphs that are like luckiest versus unluckiest players, he's one of the unluckiest players this year with so many like
even with
tipped
JMO
pass
back
for a touchdown, flag called back, this or that. It's just he's gotten unlucky. He should have 3 more touchdowns than he has.
So the only good news for this particular matchup, the Vikings are actually pretty porous against wide receivers.
That's true.
But it doesn't mean they're not a good defense. They have a very good pass rush.
But
they have a very good pass rush overall. They do very good against the QB for the most part. They are 12th against QBs, but they are 31st against the wide receiver, which means in this particular case, they're very good at stopping them, but they're very bad at stopping the pass when necessary. And Mac Jones can't pass the ball. So for me, this is a very difficult matchup to kind of, give you guys our best information. The best thing I can probably tell you is play all your Vikings. It's not a big, put them on
a lot of offensive
lineup.
Possessions. They're going to have red zone trips. Something good will happen, right?
Yeah, there's always something that's going to be good. The Jaguars have been porous and are in the bottom of a lot of categories when it comes to defense this year. They do have a decent pass rush, but the Vikings overall line is better, in my opinion. So, like I said, this is going to be
There'll be some fun start sits here, I think. I think there's going to be some questions on this one.
It's going to be a lot of the Jaguars, not on the Vikings.
I guess it's only BTJ, right? Is there really only one player that's in the question? Because you're definitely, unless you're in a spot where you have 2 good tight ends and you're like, do I start this guy over Ingram? I think we'll answer some of those questions, but I think it's going to be like BTJ in my flex or this other kind of random option. Do I take the random option? I'm excited to take a couple of those questions.
BTJ or DeAndre Hopkins.
D-Hop.
What about DeAndre Hopkins? What about
okay, I feel like Phil is going to
Wandale?
pop up out of nowhere whenever we do this.
What about Wandale?
Take Wandale.
BTJ or DJ Moore?
Oh, DJ Moore.
BTJ or Darnell Mooney?
Darnell Mooney. Great spot for Mooney.
Brian Thomas Jr. or Calvin Ridley?
Let me vomit for a second. And then
And remember, we're not talking about this game, but Will Levis is coming back.
this is going to sound nuts, but dude, it's Ridley for me, man. He's going to get more
Ew.
targets and
Gross.
catchable targets, probably.
Gross. BTJ or Cortland Sutton?
I literally have a prop on Cortland later on for the volume that he's going to Cortland Sutton, man. I'm so sorry, BTJ. I'm so sorry I didn't draft you. I drafted a lot of Worthy over you, and now this is what I get. It's my mistake.
What's your answer?
It's not BTJ.
There we go. Jordan Addison or BTJ?
Okay, enough. It is not Jordan Addison. Rasta, I'm so sorry, but I'm kind of off Addison. I'm going BTJ over Addison.
All right. What about Waddle?
Oh, gee, I'm locked in several trade discussions on Waddle. I might have to hold my tongue on this one, but I'm gonna say BTJ just to drive Waddle's price down.
All right. What about Xavier Legette?
Oh, that's kind of an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah,
I wasn't prepared for this one.
See, this is why I do
Bryce Young, Mac
used to do this all
Jones
the
for
time.
a
I like it.
quarterback. Jesus.
This is why me and Roster do this. Me and him used to do this all the time because it was just perfect.
Fuck, that's such an unfun question.
Right? It really isn't.
Fuck me. I'm gonna take BTJ so I can live with myself.
Okay. All right.
Because like it's one thing to take Mac Jones, but it's another thing to take Bryce Young after getting I don't know, man. I can't.
No,
I like Xavier. I just don't think there's no way Xavier has the ceiling that BTJ does, right?
Okay.
Like even an
fair.
inept Mac Jones can throw the ball at a 45-degree angle, and BTJ can do something with the physics, you know?
Okay. I like it. So let's get into our props for this game. As you can tell, it's one of those things. Play all your Vikings. We'll answer your questions on any of the Jaguars. Hopefully we can get you guys the best answer. So throw them in the chat while you can. Right now, props for this game for me: Sam Darnold higher than 4.5 touchdowns, passing touchdowns.
4.5? Damn.
1.5. 1.5. My bad.
I don't know, man.
Sorry.
What can you find me the odds on the 4.5 though?
Oh my God. If I could do alternate and change it and then see if it actually happens.
There's no way I'm not putting $1 on Sam Darnold alternate passing touchdowns just to see what the hell happens.
Just to happen. No, I'm going to go 1.5. I think he can definitely beat that without a problem.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think they tend to pass in the red zone, and now that Hawkinson's back, I think they're more incentivized to do so.
100%. They're going to try to get him that TD. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, I thought about that for a prop, to be honest with you. But for me, I see one path to the game script that I think is the most likely in terms of how the game's going to get played, and I think Ingram's going to soak up. I have him projected in my model to have between like 10 and 11 targets. I think he's going to catch 7 to 8 of those balls probably. If I lower his like catchable target, I still think he gets to 6 almost every time. So I'm going to take the higher than Evan Ingram on receptions, higher than 5.5 receptions. I'm not touching the yardage because no kidding, I think he might have 30 to 40 yards on those 6-ish catches. But I do think you got to give the ball to someone. I think it's going to be Ingram.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, honestly, I hope this happens. I don't want to have to make the decision between Evan Ingram and Sam Laporta. I have to. So I have to really think about this one, but I really do hope that
Let chat decide. Do it the fun way. Let chat decide.
No, I can't let chat decide my particular lineup decisions.
Chat, do you want to make? I mean, he tells you who to start on Sunday.
Do your best. Try to tell me what to do. It's gonna be hard. I'm stubborn. Ask my wife. So let's move on to
Ask
the
your
Broncos.
opponent. No, be more devious. This is my favorite thing to do. Like message your opponent.
Oh no! So I have done that. I have done. So I have actually had. Kendall is fairly new to this whole scenario, but from what happened in our listener league 2 years ago, I had one of the managers actually pick my lineup and set my whole lineup. I ended up winning. So he beat himself. Great league story. So let's move on to the Broncos and the Chiefs. Broncos are favored by Sorry, let me say that again. Broncos are 5-4. Chiefs are 8-0. So Broncos are trying to end this streak. Kansas City is favored by 7.5 points. The over-under for this game is 41.5. Notable injuries, Juju Smith-Schuster. He's still not playing. This is a little concerning overall, but hey, they got DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not worried about it.
I want my fab back.
Yeah, I know. I want all my fab back too for that. Broncos are healthy. They are pretty good. Nothing's going on in the world of the Broncos, which is fantastic because I love what they've been doing. So I'm going to ask this again. I asked this last week. I'm going to ask it again this week after what we just saw from Patrick Mahomes on his Monday night game against the Bucs. Patrick Mahomes or Bo Nix this week?
I'm going Mahomes. I can't bring myself. Look, if the Chiefs had the same defense they did 2 years ago, I might be more inclined to take Bo Nix, right? Because the gist of the question, right? This is an SAT question where you're intentionally trying to trip me up, right? But the idea here is like Bo Nix has been playing out of his mind, and Patrick Mahomes in offense has had to do nothing and set a lot of 15 to 17 point games way too often, right? The challenge here is that Bo Nix does not have the upside that he's had the last couple of games because the Chiefs defense is fantastic and they play a really smart game, and it's narrow.
Spagnola.
Like it's the Chiefs have a big home field advantage. It's a rookie quarterback up against a very seasoned team. I take there's a highly effective but intangible rating when it comes to like when you're playing a team with that much experience, championship experience from the players and the coaching staff. The other team just starts seeing ghosts. They become what everyone else has been, right? I don't think this is like, do you think the rookie quarterback, I know he's like 70 as a rookie, but
it's his floor though. That's his really good draw. Is
the rushing floor is there, but his touchdown floor is actual 0.
Well, at this point, yeah.
Like if he has 20 points, it's because he rushed for 95 yards, but he might have 0 touchdowns. That's my problem with him is their passing game against this defense. He could throw for 0 pass. He could throw 0 touchdowns. For me, that's a problem.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think this is a game where it's going to be very difficult to see. I think Bo Nix is going to have a difficult game, but I had to bring the question up because he's been out of control the last few weeks going against decent defenses like the Ravens, who, I mean, I understand they lost a few people, but they're still a pretty good defense as we saw last night. They give up a lot of points, but they can put a hurt on you. In this case, the Chiefs can be like that as well. They're very good at shutting you down and blitzing, disguising coverages and stuff like that. So this is going to be a very big test for Bo Nix. I'm excited to see how this works out. It's a 1:00 game, which is a rarity for these two to be facing off.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Chiefs play at 1:00 in a minute. At least it feels.
It just feels like it, and because normally they play at 4, so it's quite interesting to see. My next question is I mean, do you think that D-Hop could continue his productive path after the big showing on Monday night? He had a really great game against the Bucs. Do you think he can continue that against guys like Patrick Surtain and this Broncos defense? If he had any other head coach, no. But with Andy Reid, yeah, he's the best play caller probably in the history of the NFL. I mean, is that crazy to say? I haven't been around forever. On the offensive side of the ball, I will give you that. Okay, I'll rephrase. That's what I meant. I have not done the homework to think I could be talking some stupid shit here, right? Him and Sean Payton are probably two of my favorites, but you can, of course, you got to throw in guys like Bill Walsh, Bill Walsh and a few others. But sure. I guess that's a fair point, but it's also like our modern age. At some point in time, it's going to be D-Hop because at some point in time they'll scheme the game to where if your best defender is covering a guy I'm never giving the ball to, like you're playing my game in a very unwinnable way. And like we'll get to your prop in a minute, but they can throw to those types of guys all damn day while they are covering D-Hop. And the second they decide to change, D-Hop's going to have a 40-yard touchdown. Like the moment it happens, that's how they do it. So yeah, I think D-Hop's going to be fine. He's such a savvy veteran and he doesn't drop any balls with Mahomes. So like, yeah, even if there's a tiny window, they're going to make you burn. But I think the fact that his game IQ is at a level that surpasses his current physical ability, he's going to play smart
And Mahomes is kind of in that cerebral stage of his career too, where he's not doing the crazy no looks all the time, but he is playing smart. You combine two smart players like this. This reminds me, it's a very different example, but it has a lot of similarities. Tell me if you think you agree and kind of see some overlap. Randy Moss was done.
Oh, with
The
with Tom
league
Brady.
forgot him.
Okay.
Then he went and set
Okay.
the current NFL record for most receiving touchdowns in a
I
season.
get the comparison. I get it. I see what you're going for. I don't know if it's going to go to that extent, but
no, it's not even going to go to half of that, and it's a very different. Like it's a mid-season trade.
Mid-season.
There's so many, but the player type,
the idea.
He wasn't good, but you put him with this type of player and this type
Oh,
of coach.
It's like what you do in
coach,
fantasy
player,
for your
talent.
fantasy team. No, it's like what you do in your fantasy team when you end up, you're getting to a point in the year where, like in one of my leagues, the number one guy is 7-2, and I am 5-4, and I'm in second place. It's one of those scenarios where I'm going out there to find the best freaking guys I can at a reasonable price to beat that guy. And it's like the Chiefs are the 7-2 team that are looking for, and they found him. And they're just, hey, you know what? We found this. We keep getting hurt, but you know what? We keep finding trash, and they're going to work out. Because D-Hop was kind of not doing anything in Tennessee.
Tennessee
And now
wasn't doing anything in Tennessee.
well, they weren't helping him. But at the end of the day, they ended up making it where he is now, now he is a part of this wonderful offense. If you were able to get him, congratulations.
Tennessee's a wonderful rehab facility, though, man. If you have like aching, aches or bones, just go over there for a couple weeks. You'll be all right, man.
Well, that's a place to rehab. The Ravens are a place to die, because I hate wide receivers that go there, and that's why I'm absolutely floored about Deontay.
Deontay, I know me and you are big on Deontay too, so
it hurts. It hurts my soul. So let's get into our props. Our props for this game. Mine is kind of it's funny because Underdog doesn't have a ton of props for this particular game. For me, Noah Gray higher than 1.5, and it's really about what you just talked about. They're going to pull coverage to somebody. They're going to be pulling coverages to other guys like D-Hop. They're going to be pulling them to Xavier Worthy. And guess who's going to eat underneath? Noah Gray, Kelsey, even when they scheme it out to be Hopkins underneath. It's going to be one of those types of games. I'm really excited to see what they do here. But Noah Gray, higher than 1.5 receptions. What about you?
I like that one a lot too. I can scroll over here. This is my Sutton pick. I like Sutton higher than 3.5 receptions.
Interesting. Even against McDuffie?
I see it as a volume play. Again, I do think this is one of those. He might have 10 yards on these catches. I don't know, but I think he's going to get 1 million targets, and I think he gets to 3.5. Like, I wouldn't bet this at 4. Does that make sense?
Okay.
But he's going to have a 90% snap, share in a situation where they're playing from behind after the first quarter.
That goose egg still sits in my head.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
Gary.
It's the Chiefs. You're gonna want your
McDuffie.
experienced players. You're gonna want
McDuffie
your
scares me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, playing your rookies like Vele against the Chiefs is scarier though, right? Like you're gonna find a way to throw the ball to Sutton. Sutton's gonna find a way to come down with a few catches.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna find a way to let Sutton not beat them, but they don't need to shut him down. Like they're gonna let him get a few catches.
Yeah, they're gonna have to volume him up, and they're gonna be. I still like it.
Yeah. So again, I wouldn't bet it at 4. It's 3.5. Just feels a little bit low. I think this is one of those where they're saying, look, his matchup is abysmal. He's the wide receiver 1 on that team, and he has 100%. To go against the best defender, and that's going to be ugly. But at the same share, like it's still the NFL. Number 1s go against number 1s all the time, and still have 5 to 8 catches all the time.
Yep.
We're talking about Bo Nix being pretty good. I think he's good enough to get Sutton to 4 or 5 catches. Right? Okay. I'm not saying 7 or 8. I'm saying 4 to 5 for a wide receiver 1. Like that floor.
It's a low number for it. That's a low number for him.
Javonte Williams' rushing attempts is at like 10.5, which means they're going to throw the ball. Vegas says they're going to throw the ball a shit ton.
That's the hope. So I like those. Right now, we are starting to get to the very end. This is the last game we're going to be talking about for the slate. Remember, we're going to be doing We're going to talk about the Falcons, and then we're going to be moving on. So we got one game left to talk about. So let's get going. So Falcons are going to visit the Saints out in New Orleans. Falcons are favored by 3.5 here. The over-under for this game is 46.5. Okay, this one's going to take a minute for the notable injuries. First and foremost is Chris Olave. He's in concussion protocol. He's going to probably go on IR. They haven't ruled it out yet. It looks like he might be. He's ruled out for the near to distant future. Drake London is dealing with a hip pointer. He has been limited all week. He is listed as questionable at this point. Beat reporters that I've been listening to have been seeing him in practice, and they said that he kind of looks a little bit stiff in his limited capacity, that they get to see in practice. So definitely something to monitor prior to game time. Definitely come and watch on Sunday morning. I'll help you guys out with actives and inactives. Don't forget about it. So that's going to be kind of one of those things to really keep an eye on here. So what I wanted to talk about with this is the Saints have been going through some big changes. So if you haven't been watching the news lately, you're too involved with the election. You lose the head coach of the Saints. You lose Dennis Allen. You now gain assistant coach. I forgot who it was. Chris Olave is ruled out. You lost Marcus Lattimore to the Commanders and at the trade deadline. So right now, Alvin Kamara seems to be the only player that you can really trust in this particular offense right now. Is there anybody else in this offense that you're willing to play?
There is one.
Ooh.
There is one.
Is it my favorite player of all time?
Yeah, buddy. Oh, is he a quarterback? Is he a tight end? Is he a running back? I don't know, but I hope he makes the cover of Madden one year for just
he needs to.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it. He is what the definition of football is.
Fire some Taysom fucking Hill. Let's go, baby.
I love Taysom Hill.
I am lighting him up. I'm starting him over some stupid players. I'm playing him over BTJ in the flex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'll do that in Scotty Fishbowl. I probably won't do it anywhere else because Scotty Fishbowl, it's like tight end premium times 3.
It's a 0.5 tight end premium league, but it's still,
I would do it. Yeah. Heartbeat. Yeah. And Jamal Williams is out as well. And Kendrick Miller is out. So there's so many injuries for this particular Saints team. It just looks like it's going to be the Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill show.
Carr goes down with an injury. Taysom Hill's playing quarterback this game too.
Probably. At this point, wide receivers, you're not playing any of them. Tipton, you're not playing.
I like the kid, but I'm not doing it yet.
Memes, I think, is not even playing in this game. There's not really much. Yeah. There's not many guys that you can go with on the, receiving part of the ball. DeJuan Johnson is another guy that you can maybe invest in. Foster Moreau seems they're going to be doing a lot of 3 tight end sets and just, either running the ball, play action.
They're not going to play a single wide receiver.
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. They don't have any that I can think of.
Oh, this is great.
It's gonna be an interesting game nonetheless for that. But at this point, let's just I'm gonna talk about the Falcons real quick. If the Falcons have Drake London, or let's just say Drake London's out. Let's go with Drake London being out.
All right.
Do you see Darnell Mooney being a top 10 play?
Yeah. Well, top 10 at wide receiver.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna move him up the top 10. I was very close to putting him at top.
I'm like snap reacting to the number, but then when you look at the available player pool, I betcha for me he's probably not far off. If he's not top 10 for me, he's probably top 15. I'm right there with you.
I have Darnell currently at 17. I have Drake at 18.
In a weird way, it's better for Mooney if Drake plays but is banged up. Like this 100%. Is the Keenan Allen game from 2 years ago. Like
don't remind me of that.
Yeah, this is that game. Yeah. This is that game where he's just a decoy and Mooney's gonna eat.
Not.
Yeah,
I hope not. But right now we're trying to figure it out. You're gonna have to definitely come back on Sunday.
Definitely play Mooney. I don't know about London, but definitely play Mooney.
Mooney is a play. Pitts is also recovering from, he had a hamstring. He's fine though.
He's
off the injury report. Yeah, he's fine though. That's why I didn't even list him in the thing. He's off the injury report. So in this case, you're really playing most of your Falcons. You're not really playing most of your Saints, except for Alvin Kamara. It's a pretty simple spot. This is a great game for a lot of the Falcons, including Bijan, even Algier, maybe Pitts if you're really looking to play him. I think the biggest part of this is Marcus Lattimore is no longer here, and
defense got obliterated. Oof. This might be the new Panthers in terms of matchups.
They were doing so well, and then they just blew up after Carr got hurt, and it's a shame to see, but it is what it is.
Finally, a team actually tanking. Like, Jesus.
And they're
like more allowed to tank in the NFL than they are in fantasy because we've got ethics and stuff.
They didn't even tank on purpose. It was because of everything that happened.
It's kind of crazy that I don't think they're doing this on purpose.
No, it's not anything to do with anything other than just you had Carr go down, and then it's Chris Olave going down, and then you had Rashid Shaheed get hurt, and then you had this happen and that happen, and it's just like one after the other after the other. Like I get the firing of Dennis Allen. He should have been fired a long time ago.
He's but so happy about that.
I know. I think everyone is, especially Saints fans. Cooter Doodle. I know she loves it. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, it's really one of those things where I'm man. Yeah, don't talk to me, Wicked.
I was popping the chat.
So bad. I'm so bad in that listener league. I'm so sorry for those that face me in that league because my team is the taco of the league, and I try all I can to make it better. But I can't
the
do
league
it.
Reference.
Yeah. I will use my league reference. So he's saying, I'm a last place team. My team got beat up bad. And then it just hasn't recovered. So it's been a rough listener league year. Last year I wasn't that good either. But I swear to you guys, I'm good at this. I do have like 4 or 5 of I have like 6 teams that are, in the top 4. So relax. It's okay.
I'll see you in the finals, Pop. I kind of like my team, and I'm still pissed you beat me when we played.
Right.
Coming for you, my man.
There you go.
He's got a pretty good team in that league, though.
He does.
He really does.
So I know you are. Glad to see you too there, Wicked. Always glad to have you in the chat as well. So let's go through the props for this game. My prop for this is exactly what we just talked about, and I figured I'd lean into it a little bit. Alvin Kamara higher than 4.5 receptions. Definitely doable. This guy can put up 11 without problem. Falcons defense is definitely vulnerable. I'm taking it. Just 4.5. There's really not much to say about it.
Yeah, I typed that line into the props for like 10 minutes until I realized you were there like hours before I was.
Oh yeah.
But it just makes sense because I'm firing up Taysom. If he's available in a league, like after I drink 2 more beers after this, if you're in a league with me,
you better get him now.
You should send me an offer for Taysom Hill. I'm feeling spicy. He's gonna hurt somebody this week, so I'm taking all the Taysom Hill bets. I'm just gonna click them all. All the hires, but specifically, I like higher than 12.5 receiving yards. That I think is just like
interesting.
That's on 1 catch, no problem. Probably, and I think he does this entire prop on 1 catch. I think he catches one.
He can do that.
13-yard pass for a touchdown.
Yeah, a little screen pass.
Yep, 12.5 receiving yards, and I'm also taking the higher than 0.5 rushing plus receiving touchdowns. That one's my favorite, but I think he gets there both ways.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And that one's definitely there. There's not much to pick from. That is. So I like those props too very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the live Q&A for you guys. So make sure you guys throw your questions in the chat. We're going to go to the very top of the list and come all the way down. So throw your questions in the chat. We're going to be answering them as we go. Remember, we have another show right after this with Rasta and Phil at 11 o'clock Pacific. 11 o'clock Eastern. They have me thinking Pacific. And then from there, they're going to answer any of your other questions about the late slate of the games. They're going to be going over the games like the 49ers, Steelers, Titans, Jets, Eagles, Lions, and Titans game. And Dolphins and Rams. So stay tuned if you want to hear more about those games. But for now, we're going to answer your live Q&A questions right here for you. And I'm excited. This is my favorite part of the show. So please throw your questions in the chat. Make sure you guys use the correct formats and everything if you haven't already. And then, yeah, if you're still listening and we answer we involve your question and you have more, throw them in there too. That's what we're here for, to answer your question. If you want your question answered first, or you want another question answered, even if you're in there, throw us a super chat. I'll stop the show just for you. So let's go with Brad McCoy. He goes, "What up, guys? What up, bro?" He goes,
What's up, Brad?
"Happy
Cheers, mate.
Friday night. Woke up leading by 100 because I had Burrow, Jamar, and oh my God, and Derrick Henry go off. Good for you. Good for you." So as he flexes, he goes, start DJ Moore versus New England, BTJ versus Minnesota, or Wandell versus the Rams. Now, we kind of answered this before, but what I want to get your take here. I know it's probably DJ Moore, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree. Go with the guy that has the better quarterback in this scenario. I'm just not there for Tua and Waddle yet.
Yeah, I got a tiny gut feeling this is like the get right game for Waddle. Like,
okay.
I'm trying
it's a
to
50-point
acquire,
over under. I can definitely.
I'm trying to acquire Waddle because I think this is the cheapest moment, and I think this game shifts it. I have a feeling, just putting that out there, if you're the guy that's losing by $2 billion, I think Waddle's the play over DJ because he can catch 2 touchdowns for 150 yards on 2 catches. And I think that could happen. And I don't see DJ Moore scoring more than like 15 fantasy points realistically. But DJ Moore is the guy.
Yeah, it's definitely DJ Moore for me as well. Aaron Lawing, what's going on, man? Great to have you here. If you haven't already, I know I haven't said this, and I try not to say it too often because I hate being those guys that go like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the show if you guys can. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. We love having you guys here. Love having you guys being involved. So would you do Brian Robinson Jr.? So fun fact, he's out. So take him out of your lineup. He's already out of this equation.
It's a trade question, I think, right?
No. Oh, it is a trade question. My bad. But if you're playing, if you think you want to play Brian Robinson Jr., don't
do that.
So Brian Robinson Jr. and Ken Walker for Tank, Chubb, and Hopkins.
Wow.
So you must have a good running back core.
Yeah.
To get rid of. Right? I wouldn't do this unless I had a really, really bad running back core.
Or it's a single flex league and you literally can't get him in your lineup. Like, you're past your buys. I don't know. I mean, like, I like Hop. I'm not big on Chubb. I'm not big on
like Walker.
Tank. I'm honestly not big on. Yeah, like Walker's the single most valuable player in this trade. Like Hopkins for me is a consideration in redraft because I do think he can
100%.
have a big rest of the season. I'm trying to weigh like if his running. I'll pose you the question: if his running backs are like Saquon, Kyron, and he somehow has the rest of this because he got his another running back in that. You could get him as late as the 5th technically for Walker. If that's the case, and you are shredded at wide receiver, would you do this if that's the case?
Maybe, but that means you have to be really bad at wide
That's
receiver.
the minimum though. Like it has. What we're saying, it has to be that case. Like Hopkins has to be so integral to this. And I say Hopkins because Hopkins.
He's the lead of this whole
season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Tank, I feel like when Nico comes back, he's not having a great season. And honestly, CJ's not doing enough in the production side of things to make Tank good enough.
It hurts.
It does. Tank's still fine in Dynasty. But I don't, dude, if you're fine at wide receiver, I don't do this. I think we're on the same key. You got to really need D-Hop.
Yeah, like unless your team is decimated to the point where you need a guy like Tank and Hopkins, I'm not doing this trade. I am rolling with, I'm rolling the whole way with, Ken Walker and going that way.
Yeah. Good question, though. I feel like this is one of those, like,
I had to really think about that.
He's debating a really painful trade, I think, to get it done. And I like when people are willing to do what it takes to win a title, not just like the chalky play. That's interesting.
Oh, believe me, I did that in my keeper league, and I'll talk about that if we have time at the end. So Smokey the Cat, what's up, guys? What's up, Smokey? He
Great
goes, I know, I love it. Stash one of these guys: Jalen Warren, Isaiah Garendo, or Raheem Mostert.
In redraft,
I'm assuming it's redraft.
it's got to be. Ooh, wow, actually, it's not Garendo.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say Garendo. It's between Mostert and Warren, and I'm leaning Mostert.
I'm leaning Mostert too. I think
It's
that more
just
upside.
the offense. They're not involving Warren as much. Najee's actually getting a bump, which is nice, which I kind of wanted originally.
Mostert's miraculously more healthy than Jalen.
Mostert seems to be a little bit healthier too. So I'm gonna have to lean. You're stashing Mostert.
At least he's got flex worthiness at worst.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go to Nap Gog. What's going on, man? He goes, should I drop Ferguson for Taysom Hill? Got Bowers rest of season.
Format
Personally,
dependent for me.
no.
I gotta say format dependent because that could really swing this though.
I was gonna say that. If this is
standard
super
versus
flex,
PPR really flips this too, and what you're saying
well,
too.
I was gonna say super flex. I might do this, and it's really just because it helps you in situations where you might need to throw Taysom in that particular spot. His flexibility is fantastic.
Yeah.
But
he might actually play some quarterback, dude.
well, that was my point. Like you have him involved in that offense, and he's one of those big parts of it. Ferguson, on the other hand, he will be a part of that particular offense. And with Cooper Rush being the quarterback and Dak, let's just be clear here. Dak is more than likely going on IR. And if he hasn't already, I think they said this morning he was. They just don't know how long he'll be on IR. Because remember, IR is you're on it for 4, but then you get an extra 3 to get off of it. So they can tell you, hey, we're going to designate you to come back to practice, but then they could just limit you or, put you as did not participate. And then they have another 3 weeks to keep you on there. And then you have no choice but to be out. So I like Ferguson here because I think Cooper had a really good season with him at one point when he had to be involved, and Ferguson is involved in that offense. I think I'm going to stay with Ferguson here just because I think he's a better option long term.
I have to disagree, but it's because he has Bowers. For me, it's like you're playing Bowers every single week, so you're really stashing for an injury for a week.
So and it's
I'm
really
playing the
for this
upside
week.
play. Like I get you. If something were to happen, Ferguson is the more consistent player I'd want to own. But for spot starts in unique situations,
I agree.
Taysom Hill is a better, right tool, right job. Ferguson's more of just like a Swiss Army knife, but Taysom Hill is he's what you need for the right job. He's a specialized tool, and he has way more upside than Ferguson does in any particular given matchup. And I wouldn't be surprised if Taysom Hill goes out and has 10 carries and 5 targets. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, God, this is a no-brainer. Like, he has so much touchdown upside because he's also getting the rushing work. And don't forget that there's a hidden piece to this, which is Kamara is the most utilized player in the NFL at this point. Like, in terms of touches,
100%.
He's old. If he goes down or is hobbled in any way, Taysom Hill, his ceiling is unfathomable. Like, people aren't talking about it. And it's there. Everyone's dying, legitimately dying on this team. And he can play any position on the field. He can probably kick a field goal if he needed to. So for those reasons, I'm going to go with Taysom because this is a stash, right? You have Bowers. Yeah, and I'm playing for pure upside or tradability. I'll go find the guy that needs Taysom, and I can get way more in the trade market for a desperate person for Taysom, I think. So for those reasons.
No, I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with you. I love you. We've said it before. I love Taysom Hill. I love what Jake Ferguson can do for your particular team long term. But this is my only argument.
Target share too right now. Ferguson's getting a lot of targets. He's gotten very unlucky in touchdowns where he was massively lucky in touchdowns the previous year. That's probably regressing towards the mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now they have a little bit of a difficult, their strength of schedule is not that great, but I mean, you do their math. It's Texans, Commanders, Giants, Bengals, Panthers. And if you only really need him this week, Taysom's your guy. Like if you're really looking
Commanders
for
aren't a
it,
good defense anymore. The Commanders are a good defense now.
yeah. So I'm gonna go. I like Ferguson a little bit more, but I can definitely you could definitely sway me to go Taysom. I always love Taysom. So Smokey the Cat goes flex one of these guys, Keenan Allen or Eckler. To me, it's gonna be Eckler. No
Yeah,
brainer.
buddy.
It's no brainer.
Money, dude. He's already like he's like kind of like becoming like a league winner at this point.
He will if Brian Robinson can't get his shit together. Abreu 68. How you doing, brother? He goes full PPR, flex Dell or Mooney.
Mooney
For me as well. Also, rest of the season, Deontay or Jameson. It's Jameson.
Jameson is not close, and it's painful to say it.
Yeah,
but
it's
Jameson.
Jameson and not close. Me and
even if it was double PPR, man, it's still Jameson.
Yeah, me and Kendall love Deontay. I like Jameson a lot too, but unfortunately, it has to be Jameson over Deontay. It's just not looking good, unfortunately.
A lot of dome games coming up.
The minute I saw the ticker go Deontay to Falcons, I went. I wanted him to go to Houston more than anything.
I want him to go to Dallas.
Millie Mills, what's going on, brother? He goes Ramondre Stevenson or Najee Harris in the flex. I like this question.
Interesting. That is an interesting question. I got an answer though. I'm gonna get you go first though.
You suck. I was looking up all my stuff.
I'll take it. You can keep looking up because I want to get the nuance take.
I'm looking at my rankings. I'm looking at all the strength of schedules and stuff. Like I got to look at everything for this.
Yeah, it looks straight. Najee's got 3 straight games of 100 yards.
I love Najee so much, and I have them back to back.
I'm going with Najee, man.
Oh wow, I have Najee currently at 22. I have Ramondre at 23. For those that are new to the show, please check out our website at getrightff.com. We do have our rankings posted there for those that want them. Man, I have both of them at 22, 23. I got to look at the particular, defense against in this case. So for this game, it's going to be the Commanders. Commanders are 12th, and the other one is, who is it? Who are they facing? Jaguars not Jaguars. Bears. So Bears are 21st.
Yeah, we could be better.
I'm going to go with Ramondre here. If I'm going to go with the tiebreaker, if they're really close for me, I'm going to go with Ramondre.
Yeah, the pass catching is there for Ramondre too.
Going Ramondre.
Jalen Warren's he's a full go?
I'm assuming so. I didn't see anything saying the contrary.
Antonio Gibson is
nothing. He's not
doesn't exist.
Wow.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna change my mind on this because
I did it. I finally did something.
Look, this was one of those. The gut feeling was Najee, but when I looked into
Najee,
it,
man,
the snap share should be more in Ramondre's favor. The negative game script, full PPR passing work in the fourth quarter alone probably elevates over Najee because they'll get Jalen involved. Yeah. From an upside standpoint, I think Najee has the better floor. I'll say that. I do think Najee is the easiest to 10 points. Okay. But Ramondre has probably the more realistic 20-point game more consistently because I think he has more passing work now that Warren's back. If Warren wasn't back or was still heavily hobbled, that's where I think you have to go Najee from a volume standpoint.
So I'm trying to look up Warren now. To see if I have any news about him. I don't see anything about Warren. Currently, I'm trying to find out because this app, as much as I love it, tends to be a little wonky sometimes. And I'm trying to see. Oh, there we go. Nope, I don't see anything about Warren. So
yeah,
he should be good to go.
Looks like he's fine. He's coming off of a 39% snap share against the Giants, 51 against the Jets. That's a lot of snap share away from Najee. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers plan on doing well in the playoffs, they probably have to start limiting Najee's touches to keep him healthy. Didn't think about that as well, given the record. Important game for them. But yeah. I'm going to go with Ramondre.
Okay. I like it. So Smokey the Cat goes, now I don't know what this is. SGP?
Same game parlay.
Oh, same game parlay.
Hey,
So
my man. All right. Okay.
he goes Tua and Stafford plus 1.5 touchdowns, Tyreek touchdown, Cup touchdown, and Dolphins win. What do you think?
Do we like it? Do we like this?
It's a lot, but I don't hate it. It's Monday Night Football, 50-point over under. I like it.
I feel like the Dolphins to win is worrying me.
I probably wouldn't pick Dolphins to win out of that because they're flying out to the Rams. So
yeah, I do like the Rams at home.
Yeah, Rams at home. I like.
I love Stafford in big games. I just love Stafford.
Yeah.
Like
Stafford
you just
on
saw him.
Monday
Like the Rams should have lost the other week, except Stafford was like, "No,
Yeah.
we're winning." That's the part I don't like, but the rest of it I do like.
Yeah, I don't hate
the Tyreek touchdown and the Cup touchdown. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I would replace the Cup touchdown with the Kyron touchdown.
I do worry about the Cup touchdown. Demarcus Robinson is coming off of like 4 touchdowns in 2 games. Like Cup seems like a decoy in the red zone.
Beyond that, I like Kyron just because they keep feeding him the ball as a touchdown because they want his consecutive streak to continue. So I think they're gonna give it to him in one way or another to get into the touchdown.
I'll say this too: if you're gonna do that parlay, I would actually add more to it. If I'm being real, like I think you're not getting the big enough payoff because you're taking what I think is kind of a risk with the Dolphins win. Okay. I would add a little more to it to get more juice because when you hit, I think you need to really hit. You're calling 2 different touchdown guys. I think you need to. I would also add some yardage for those guys, or just get lean into that game script you believe in a little bit more. Because I think you're leaving from a game theory optimal perspective, you're not leaning into your take enough to get paid off enough, and you're not mitigating that much risk to realistically. But I like the play in general.
Okay. So let's go to Perry. Perry goes Stevenson or Amari Cooper in the flex. For me, it's Stevenson, and it's really
not close. I don't think.
Yeah, and it's because of Amari Cooper and his injury and stuff. Like I don't see them involving him as much as you guys might think he might be involved.
Even if he's involved, you're talking about Amari, right?
Yeah, it's volume.
The passing volume is so low that he could lead the team in targets and catches and still not be meaningful enough.
Yeah, for me it's Stevenson and it's not even close. Dylan. So hey guys, thoughts on King Henry's playoff schedule? Good time to trade for high value. Now, here's my question for you. Who are you trading for to get for him, like value-wise?
Do we give Dylan the benefit of the doubt and just say Dylan listens to the shows? He's sharp because he listens to the shows, so he probably has a pretty solid value system because he listens to the shows, right? You know what I mean? If I give him all that credit, and Dylan, I think we'll give you the credit. So now answer the question, like, because that like takes away the who we're trading for. Let's just say we know it's always going to make sense. If we flip the question to, is it a good time to fair value flip him because of the
low game?
Or you're thinking like he's just been riding a crazy wave? I'm in agreement. I think Henry has not been playing particularly amazing. He's been breaking up 60, 70-yard runs.
He barely gets 20 touches a game. On top of that, he also is getting, I think, only 60 or 50% of the 50% of the snaps. They barely put him in on third down on any scenarios. His matchups for the next few weeks aren't horrible. The Steelers and Chargers are his worst matchup. Eagles are able to be beaten. Giants, of course, are beaten after week 15, after week 14, after their bye. The Steelers, again, is the only tougher matchup. And then the Houston Texans to finish out your year, unless you're one of those silly teams that silly leagues that like to go until week 18.
Like I would trade him for Saquon.
Yeah, I would do Saquon.
I don't. It's hard to do him straight for running back. Like these situations, when you trade him, it's almost always a running back for a wide receiver type of.
Saquon has the better. He definitely has the better strength of schedule moving forward.
The problem is the wide receiver you're going to need to get back for him is like almost untradeable.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me ask you. This because I'm actually trying to ask myself this question.
So hold on.
Full PPR. Or you can ask me or I'll ask you, but I want to play the game here.
Hold on. He goes Justin Jefferson or package deal for Barkley.
Oh, you read my mind. Wait, why do you have to package for Barkley? You have the number 1 running back in the league. Why do you have to trade more to get Barkley?
Yeah, I don't think you need to trade more. I think both are pretty even.
Yeah. No, I don't. I wouldn't go for Barkley because you're just not going to get it done. That owner just, as soon as you send the trade, the owner knows what you're trying to do, and he's just gonna
he's gonna see that he's gonna look at the strength of schedule and go, oh,
like, look, throw it out there, right? Throw it out there, see if you can get it done. It's not gonna get done in most cases, right? So if I'm trying to give you real advice and be realistic, the Justin Jefferson one, I don't know, man.
Just know one thing, just to be aware of. Jalen Hurts is dealing with an injury currently with his ankle. And I think what's going to end up happening is they might have to. Oh, so the Barkley owner's in last.
Ooh,
now, unless they have
incentive for helping you out, though.
Well, but that was going to be my question for you there, Dylan. Does this league have a last place type thing to keep you from being last place? Like my league,
anything unethical here.
Well, all I'm trying to say is, like, my league, I have a last place rule. And basically our rule is our last place team pays for third's entry next year. And it's not like we're paying $20. It's $300 for, so you're paying $600 next season. If the incentive is like, hey, I want to try to get out of this, and I've seen Henry go off, he's been doing great, but Saquon has too. So I don't know if that's really something he's be willing to do. You might be able to do the Jefferson trade.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
But you have to be really
in full
strong
PPR, I still think I would. I am of the philosophy that I do want to sell high on Henry.
Yeah, but he has to have a stud.
Yeah, I'm saying the list is small though. Like
no, I'm saying his team needs to have a huge. Like, you need to be able to have depth behind Henry if you're going to give him away. Like, you're trading him, of course, but
yeah, Dylan, I want to know your like roster here. Like, I want to know your running backs and your wide receivers.
Let us know
if you can tell us in the chat. Like, what's your motivation? If the motivation is purely like, hey, I just want to seek value because I think Henry is at a super peak and I should sell, that's a fine philosophy. But we need to combine this with how do you win your league? What is missing? What do we need to do? Like, we need to combine those thoughts, and that's how we're going to find our answer. Just figuring out what we need to do to win you a title.
Yeah. So we got about 15 or so minutes left. So make sure you get that, throw that in there. We'll get to it in 2 minutes. Don't worry. I'll make sure to get to it at the very end, or I'll get to it before we leave. We got Raven Show Yo. What's going on, Raven? Always glad to have you. He goes full PPR, flex one, Wandell or ETN. For me, this is easy, and it's Wandell.
It's crazy that it is, but I am with you. It is absolutely Wandell.
Yeah, it is.
Minnesota's
Wandell.
Defense is brutal, and I would not even be on ETN if it were a softer defense. The Minnesota,
especially for the running back. Especially for the running back.
Some players you just got to be fine waiting and seeing, and when they blow up and they weren't in your lineup, trust the process. The process said they could be bad for 10 straight games. So yes, wait for the one good game because a stop loss is a real thing.
Yeah, for sure. This is a great question. What do you guys think of Puka rest of the season?
I think he gets ejected. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't
what
tell
a
me
thug,
that.
man. What a thug. Man, he probably gets injured again because he's becoming made of glass.
Don't say this. Please.
Dude, he had injuries in college.
I know. I don't want to hear it.
I told everyone Puka was. This is why we said sell Puka.
No, I told people not to take him in the first round because of this. But
he was such a great sell candidate going into this year. You could have gotten so much for him. I do like him rest of season though. I mean, the guy was supposed to I'll try and play or whatever, and he still comes out and has a great game.
Game.
The offense is good. I think he's fantastic. It's not such a specific question to answer though, but what do you think we're trying to answer? Do you have a nuanced take on Puka for the rest of season? What would you do with him?
I don't. Right now I think that you kind of have to hold tight, and I have him in one of my biggest dynasty leagues.
Are you looking to trade if you can find a player of similar value? Do you
want to know
he
something funny?
Appreciates?
I've thought about it in a lot of ways, And I've been trying to figure out a trade, and this is something I might talk to you afterwards because I'm actually kind of interested because I do have Puka in a league that I have Cup in, and I kind of grabbed Puka as a transition to having as a full-time for after the transition with Cup. So for Dynasty, it's a little bit different. Redraft, it's hard to gauge where he's going to, like, what's going to happen moving forward. I think you have to add a little bit of depth at wide receiver if you have him, just so that you're able to kind of pivot if need be. Because if you've had him most of the season, you pretty much haven't been using him. So hopefully your team is pretty stacked to the point where you don't have to worry about Puka, and then he's just an extra icing on the cake that you can play every so often. His strength of schedule is middle of the road right now. And as long as Stafford's healthy, you're going to be just fine. So hopefully Stafford can stay healthy. They are getting linemen back, which is good. They're coming off IR. So as long as that can continue, I think you're in a good spot with Puka, and you just kind of have to wait and see.
You want to play a game?
No, I don't want to.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Go ahead.
Puka or Garrett Wilson, ROS?
Yeah. Garrett Wilson.
Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra.
BTJ.
Puka.
Okay. Wait. Oh, this is good here. Okay. Neighbors.
Hate you.
I know.
Neighbors.
And let's find one where I think it's the other way.
This is redraft,
Nico.
right?
You redraft. Yeah. Fully redraft.
Oh, come on. You know the answer to that one. Nico Collins.
Got to be Nico, right?
Yeah.
And the rest doesn't make any sense because we'd get down to like Marv and Ladd.
Yeah.
Adams, I think we're pretty clear there. So I think based on what you just said, though, there does seem to be some trade for situations here. Like, I think it's possible to get the Garrett Wilson deal done for Puka. I think if you want it, you can get it done. I don't think you can get ASB done. I think you could get BTJ, but you wouldn't do it. Neighbors is the one where I'm like, ooh. I think you could get Neighbors and you could get Garrett Wilson done. Like, if you have Puka, I do like flipping him for Wilson or Neighbors, and I would try it. And I hope people from my league are listening because I'm going to try this tonight. I like this idea.
We'll talk about this after. So we got Kai, right? I don't want to butcher names. I hate butchering people's names. She's looking for 2 wide receivers. It looks like AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, Tank Dell, 2 running backs, Monty, Gibbs, Hunt, Swift, and 1 flex of those that we don't play. So 2 wide receivers for me are pretty easy. Honestly, it's AJ Brown and
CD is kind of an injury thing, right? It's got to be Devontae, right?
Yeah, like
Cooper
I
Rush plus an injury.
Yeah, I'm gonna go AJ Brown and Adams.
Agreed.
Running backs. I mean, this one you have a great grouping here of Monty and Gibbs. It's kind of hard not to play the 2 of them, to be honest. And then
I will take my flex from the running back pool. I think over CD in this particular case.
Yeah, that's where I'm a little bit off. Is where would I be flexing CeeDee Lamb or let's just say Swift? Right? Like I can't tell you to do something like that. Do I think you should? Probably.
Kareem's going against the Broncos, right? So that's kind of a brutal one. So is it
Hunt's out
Monty and Gibbs together is kind of a nombo.
Hunt and Tank are out of this equation for me. Honestly.
Yeah,
it's really so it's really who are you picking between CeeDee Lamb and Swift for your flex?
Because Gibbs and Swift are my locks for RB. So then it's between Devontae and Monty.
PPR.
So it's Devontae. I mean, it's CD over Monty, right? Because it's AJ Brown and Devontae as your wide receivers. I think we're going Gibbs and... Are we going Gibbs and Swift? That's what I'm going with. Do you see it different at RB?
It's half PPR.
So you're elevating Monty a little bit.
Well, this is going to be their toughest matchup, to be honest. The Texans are 4th best against the run.
I just know Gibbs is kind of the easy one, right? It's between
Gibbs.
Monty
You
and
have
Swift
to
for you.
Gibbs.
I just think Swift is like the Patriots are bad at the run. He's the only good part of the offense, and he's averaging 20 points a game essentially over the last 3
you
games.
can't not play Swift. So I think Gibbs and Swift,
Yeah.
and then it's Monty and or CD, and then it's like, which do you go with? And I want to trust the floor play is Monty, the ceiling play is Lamb.
Yeah, and half PPR. Well, hopefully we got you most of the way there. I think this is one of those. We also got to see where we're at game time with CD. Follow the injury news. Yeah. Watch him on the field. Honestly, this is why I'm watching pregame warmups and stuff.
He's off the injury report currently with a shoulder injury. It's going to be pain tolerance. So just be aware of that. We saw what happened with Jordan Mason, where he had just one little tick and it really can mess it up. Just be mindful of that. I prefer Monty in the context of the injury, and Cooper Rush isn't going to help him lead his passes.
What if
if
the
anything,
game gets out of hand?
Lead into a.
Is there an argument where what if they just bench CD early because they're like, dude, we are getting.
That's if they're getting blown out, and I doubt it. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be a tough one.
You'll live with yourself more often by sitting Monty and starting the former number 1 overall, right?
Yeah. Oh, believe me, my brother's having a fit, and he has CD Lamb, and he's. So she says, "Thank you. That helps. Of course, that's what we're here for. Anything.
No one ever tells us when it helps. I thank you.
Yes,
thank you for that. Because sometimes we just talk and drink and we don't know.
Yeah. No, I make sure to bring those up for everybody. Thomas, great to have you here. He goes, guys, start 1: Devontae Smith, Josh Downs, or Brian Thomas Jr. Please and thank you. And this is this is full PPR. I want to say Downs. Yeah. It's feeling like Downs. I want to say Downs, but I know that it should be Devontae. I have Devontae at 12, Downs at 16. Let me see if I can give you some. I'm trying to find the one thing to lean you in one direction or the other.
This is a tough
Buffalo is 6th against the wide receiver, which is a bad thing for Downs. While the Cowboys are 17th, they are getting Mika back, so that's a little bit of a disappointment. He is injured, so they might not have as much time to scramble and all that stuff. They might keep him a little bit contained. I'm going to go Devontae. God, I convinced myself to go Devontae.
I'm going to go Devontae. I like Downs.
I like Downs so much. It's just so
Devontae.
hard. It's got to be Devontae.
Downs, because he's not shown himself to be like an alpha 1. He's better when the guys around him are
Devontae can handle
better.
One role. And Brown is back this week.
Yeah, with AJ Brown back, them not, Hurts not running as much. I think it's Devontae.
I keep seeing a little bit of a theme here. We got BJ Lowe. What's going on, man? He goes full PPR. Start BTJ or DeMarcus Robinson.
Love this question. I'm flat out going DeMarcus Robinson.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I got no quarterback. Wow. I got a banged up BTJ. I got an out of hand game. Look at BTJ's bad games that we thought were going to be bad. He scores 6-7 fantasy points when he's bad. He scores 20 when it's good. But he doesn't have BTJ's floor is lower than we realize if you just look at the box score.
No, I get that. My one caveat. Who has Mac Jones played with that has been anything close to what BTJ is?
Well, to be fair, he didn't play very much, so
but if he didn't really have anybody. And my point is that if anything, like a guy like Sam Darnold can play with a guy like, Justin Jefferson. I'm not comparing. Let's just be clear. But it's one of those things where a good receiver can turn a bad quarterback into a mediocre quarterback. I have to imagine in one world or another, he is a number 2 overall pick. He was a right. He was a.
You talking about
Mac Jones. Mac Jones. What year was he picked up? He was he a 2, or was he the 22 or 10 or whatever it was?
No, he was later. He was
he was 22. That's right.
Yeah, it would have been the 22 then. Yeah,
22 or something like that. Anyway, he first round pick. Still, has that pedigree. I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. here. It's hard
in
for
his
me
last
to
4 games, he has 3 catches, 5 catches, 3 catches, 2 catches.
Brian Thomas
With Trevor. In
It's-
4
I
games, the
can't-
most catches
but
he's had
then
in
I
a
would-
single game. In
You would
4
have to have me
games is
move
5.
up DeMarcus Robinson from 41 to 20. I can't do that. Like in my rankings, I would have to move DeMarcus up at least to maybe even 30, and I can't do that. I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. I'm sorry.
I might. This is one of those. I might have to stare at my lineup and say, "Am I really willing to do what I think I'm about to do?" It's close. I think I am though. I think I might be there. I think DeMarcus Robinson is actually. I saw some metrics earlier in the season that said DeMarcus Robinson is actually a pretty damn good wide receiver, and he's even better when other people forget about him. And let me put it this way: if you're Stafford, do you think Stafford just forgets that he's like, this guy has been wide the fuck open?
Oh no, he's definitely
for like
no
a billion straight snaps.
Even when Puka was on the field, he was getting more.
Two
Like
touchdowns
DeMarcus was getting looked at more
followed
than
by 2 touchdowns. For me, like there is just no way that they don't continue to have him as like the permanent corner of the eye play. And I trust Stafford. This is me saying I'm so in on Stafford. Our fearless leader. Hey man, are you like hibernating? Little grizzly bear over there.
It's
Face
cold
warm.
over here, man.
Is it cold?
It's like 83 degrees over
Oh,
here.
I don't
man.
want to hear
It's
it.
freezing.
I don't want to hear it. It's like
83 in
40
Palm
here.
Beach. And how many hoodies you got
Palm
on there?
Springs. Man, I gotta get a sweatshirt going on, man. I'm cold over here in my casino, man. It's crazy.
Dude, it's like 40 here. It's 50 here. And you think
What?
that 80's cold? God
Yeah,
damn.
man. Hey, it's been like
desert
120
dweller.
degrees forever.
I
You
need
in the
to
desert.
Midwestern you so much, man. You need to come out here for.
You need to come
for-
out
for
here.
a winter.
You'd be in a full like puffy coat.
Nah, I don't do all that, man. That's why I'm
I'm
Rasta.
gonna
man.
buy
I'm
you a
from the
puffy
deep.
coat. Yeah, chat. Can we crowdsource a puffy coat for Rasta?
Oh yeah, we need the
Right.
We'll sew a 49ers logo on it, so he has to wear it.
Hey, I have one of those old school 49er like starter like parka like jackets. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
Like the puffy one of those. I have one of those.
What,
I'll
the
rock
P.
it.
Diddy
One of those
jacket
streams
with
coming
the-
up here
I'll tell you
soon.
what, chat. If you guys super chat enough, whatever you super chat, I will go. I'll take it to Goodwill. I'll have to take it from Rasta first. I will take it to Goodwill. I'm going to tell the people I have this much money. I want the puffiest coat that this money will buy. I'm then going to take the puffy coat. I'm going to give it to my 3-year-old son. I'm going to say, all this needs to have is this little 49ers logo. The rest of it, have a good time. After that, I'm going to mail it to Rasta.
I like it.
And we're going to have
I'll
a
rock
damn
it.
good day.
I'll rock it. Oh, that's too
All
funny,
right.
man.
Is that enough marketing?
No, I
for
just
you,
wanted
Rasta?
to
I'm going
come
deeper
in
super
and crash the stream a little bit, man. See how you guys are doing.
Always
Phil and I.
right where at the end, and then we're gonna hold you guys up. So get the hell out of here.
It's perfect, man. It's all good. I like to pop in on the last couple questions. I've been watching for like the last hour or so. So you guys.
Classic's
good
wondering how
stuff over
hammered
there.
I am that I would start DeMarcus Robinson over BTJ.
Yeah.
I could see it with Mac Jones and his injury himself. I mean, we'll see what he does, man. I can't get myself there. I couldn't get him out of my top 24. I think I still have him up there if he plays, even with Mac Jones. I don't think it's too much of a drop off from Mac Jones to Trevor. I was talking about it with someone on DM today, kind of asking a similar question, but at least Mac Jones has played before. Like he's been a starter for like a whole year. Like I'm not worried. Like he's almost like a Fitzmagic. Like what does he have to lose? He'll come in and he'll get the ball to ETN.
He has a first round pedigree.
Yeah, and Ingram and BTJ. So I mean, I'm still firing up BTJ as long as he's good to go.
Me too. So we got Patrick going full PPR trade. Javonte for Sutton.
If you can afford the running back depth, I still don't. I mean, they did mention that what's his face is going to get more play. Is that where the trade get rid of him is coming from? I don't think I would though, man. Sutton's not good enough. Sutton's still a
I'm not
flex
trading
play.
a piece to stay in the same offense. Like if I for some reason
if it was a
drafted this
different team, I
offense,
would be
just go trade. Like I'd rather have like Alexander Madison or something. And you guys
You
know how
can
much I
trade
hate
Javonte,
that,
just
but
not for Sutton, man. Just
get out of that offense.
I'd rather have Jacoby Myers over Sutton or rest of the season.
I like that call. I like that view.
DeMarcus Robinson rest of the season.
Hey, you think you can get Calvin Ridley for Javonte?
Yeah, I need Calvin Ridley for 2 fab.
That's what I'm saying. So I'd rather take my shot with. The only problem with Ridley is like, do you start him? Like, it's so enticing.
Their only
every
problem.
week.
Their only
better
problem
just not
is
to have
Will
him.
Levis.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, with him
you got to
coming back,
catch at least 3 or 4 balls on 15 targets.
Yeah, we'll see. No D Hop there. It's interesting. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So Dylan got back to us about his team. His team is Josh Allen, Devontae Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CMC, Henry, Connor, Montgomery, Hopkins, Higgins, currently in second place. So if you look at his full team, he's kind of weak at wide receiver, as you can see.
Is this a keeper league?
I don't know, because it's odd that he's able to get a guy like
How'd you get
Henry.
CMC and Amon-Ra and Henry?
And
I can
Henry.
see CMC and then Henry at the turn with D. Smith.
Yeah.
But Amon-Ra, how'd you get Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
This guy's a trade master. He has definitely done some moves. I like it.
Hey, if you can get Jefferson in that deal, good for you. You'll be pretty good getting rid of him, but you would have to hope that CMC is who he's, what everyone wants him to be. You're still kind of good with Connor and Montgomery as your particular depth there, but I think you're pretty good the way you are, to be honest.
Yeah, dude, you're playing with fire.
If
the worst thing happens, like CMC gets injured, Connor's banged up, has a history of being banged up, and you don't have Benson anywhere. This is one of those, even if you win the trade, if this goes sideways on you, like it goes so sideways, like you could find yourself in an actual, like, I have no RB2.
Yeah.
I don't think the risk is worth the reward because you don't have one extra running back.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wouldn't do it unless you absolutely had to.
The idea was there. I like the philosophy. It's just roster construction. I think it makes sense.
So Jerome asks us thoughts on Tyreek's new wrist injury. Yes, he came in today with a wrist injury. He was thrown on the injury report. Remember, today is Thursday, technically, for the normal, practice week. So this is the second day of practice for the Dolphins. Being on that injury report is never a good thing. But Tyreek has been known to play through things like this. I think he'll be okay. It's not great. He's dealing with a foot injury already, now a wrist injury. We keep seeing these wrist injuries from these wide receivers from blocking. They're gonna their coach is probably well, that's what happened.
Injury index incoming, man. It's coming.
Hey, man. I mean, that's what they did. Well, no, that's I pulled my groin injury. But no, right now I'm not scared about it. It's definitely something to monitor, definitely something to keep an eye on. Saturday's injury report will definitely be the one to determine what's going on, even though he missed today. It's not ideal, but he will probably be listed as questionable, and you're going to be sitting there like, oh no, what do I do? Yeah. So you might want to have a secondary option available to you. But
I'm not super worried about it.
I'm not crazy worried about it.
It's not an injury it's not like a hamstring where you can re-injure it in warmups or in the first couple of plays. You can like significantly hamper it. Like you can injure a wrist worse.
Well, you can, but
like you could injure anything worse, right? But I'm saying because it's not
a
specific like
no-handed catch,
right?
Yeah,
the NFL script. Good.
Now
Sorry.
I'm not super worried. Like your wrist has to be like super injured for him to be meaningfully. Everyone gets it, man. That's good.
I like it. What's up? Come on over.
What's up, buddy? So
what's going on?
Let's try to get through these a little bit so that these guys can get their show going. We got IDK, pick 2, Cooper Kupp, AJ Brown, Drake, London, Malik Neighbors.
Kupp and Brown for me.
Okay.
Brown and Neighbors.
I'm going to do Kupp and Neighbors.
Your team is insanity.
Kupp and Neighbors.
Full PPR, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Kupp and Neighbors.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a full perspective there. Looks like the only one that we're all dropping out of that is Drake London. But overall, it looks like Kupp, Neighbors, or AJ Brown for you there. Oh, it is full PPR, just so you guys are aware. Let's go with Justin Evans. He goes starting Kate Nodden and Dobbins, and sitting McBride, Pollard. Sitting McBride, Pollard, and Taysom. Am I good? It's so hard to tell
I
you
don't
to
mind the
McBride,
Otten over
bro.
McBride, actually. His forcible usage in that offense is pretty ridiculous, and the passing volume for the Cardinals has been subpar. This is not a dynasty question. Redraft, you got to do what you got to do. I actually really respect the Otten over McBride. I think it's a savvy play, and I would do it.
McMillan's still questionable.
Yeah.
Shepard was cleared. He's good to go, but I was looking at that because I had that on the DFS show earlier this week about Kate Otten being a start.
I mean, McBride is tight end 7 already and hasn't scored a touchdown yet.
I'm playing Otten over BTJ.
He got a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
One rushing touchdown.
He hasn't had a passing touchdown yet.
Come on, classic.
I
kind of agree, though. I don't know. I guess I actually agree. Like Pollard's injury, it's something like I like Dobbins in there. I like Otten.
No, Dobbins is fine. I'm not worried about him. I wouldn't play Otten and McBride together.
Play Taysom Hill in DFS.
Ooh, yeah, no, for sure.
That's where you should play him. $4,000 in DFS this week in cash.
Oh, wow. They didn't change him?
Not yet.
Oh, nice. I like it. I like it a lot there. So hopefully that helped you there, Justin. We got Patrick Lario, my Sunday best friend. How you doing there, Patrick? He goes, yo, Big Blue. Yeah, I had Chase last night. Good for you, brother. So did somebody else.
Actually, a lot of people on the screen did.
Nah,
Hey, you know who in this screen did right here.
fuck both of you.
Hey, Kendall, how's our matchup going?
Oh, God. We don't want
Hey, man.
Tell him how our matchup's going too.
No, I don't want to.
You guys ever been in an eternal rebuild where you have half of the first round picks every single round year for the next 5 years and you still can't win?
Gross.
That's tough.
So he goes, and we do high score every week for the position, and this is the wide receiver I have that I locked. I have that locked. Nice, good for you there, Patrick. Always great to hear your accomplishments in this particular league. Let's go to
I almost
John.
forgot about that one. I had almost mentally recovered from that.
No,
Mm-mm.
I haven't
So
mentally
close.
recovered at all.
We're gonna pick that scab all weekend long, guys.
Yeah, you
Beat the
will.
fuck out of him in paper the other day, though.
What makes it even better is that you traded me Lamar Jackson, and I had Jackson and Jamar Chase last night. And
I hate you both.
I mean,
I have a couple. of
What
Burrow
moron
Lamar.
trades CJ Stroud? I traded away Lamar Jackson for CJ Stroud, dude. Don't listen to a thing I have to say, Chad. I apparently in this league, and I think the league knows it, I like first round picks more than I like winning. That's the story
You're
of
one
this
of those
league.
guys.
One of those guys.
I like winning, and
Me too.
I think Jamar Chase is going to help me do that.
There you
sure.
go.
Agreed.
So we got John in the chat going, should I drop McMillan or Westbrook Akine for Alec Pierce? Need a start out of one of them.
I'm starting Westbrook Akine Classics guy.
Me too. That's my
5 for
boy.
5, baby.
I'm
You
gonna
gotta
say
get
the
5
same
for
thing.
5.
I love Westbrook Akine, man. He's
I
one
mean,
of my
Pittman
favorites.
is out, so Pierce is interesting, but
Yeah.
I'll roll the dice with the guy who's scored like 4 straight touchdowns. He's probably due not to have a touchdown now.
I would have liked it better if Mason Rudolph was at quarterback, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with my Westbrook Akine. Let's move on to Antonio Lopez. What's going on, brother? Goes, hey guys. So I offered someone Jamar for T, Walker, and Puka. So Jamar, T, Higgins, Kenneth Walker, and Puka. They said they'd need a better player along with Jamar. Should I add Kincaid, Dell, or both? Don't add anybody.
Antonio,
and walk away.
do not sell Jamar
Just
Chase.
walk
dude.
away.
Just
You
see
should
what he
tell him
just
I'm
did.
only trading for 2 players and I guess T. Higgins.
Yeah, walk away. Walk away.
Just take out T from the trade. You should not trade for T. T, like, you don't even know if he's going to play.
No. And if you're that weak at wide receiver, if you're that strong at wide receiver that you need T. Higgins, then no, just keep what you have. There's no point. It looks like he's weak at running back or something. Like, no, don't do that.
He should want this deal. And the
Jamar
fact that he
Chase
doesn't
can
is
score
going for
whatever that
more. Like,
RB2 would
Oh,
be
okay.
anyway.
Wait. He gives context. Also, I'm 3-6 at the moment. To be 4-6 because Chase Brown and Jamar dropped 80 basically. I don't know if that matters though.
it
Yeah,
matters
keep
that
him.
you could not lose a game the rest of the year with those two.
Okay.
Just
And
keep
then He says, I offered Jamar for T, Puka, and Walker. He said he needs a little bit more. What should okay, same question. Okay. So yeah.
I don't like the trade, man.
I don't like it either.
I don't see how the
Jamar.
trade wins. Definitely like for me, the fundamental issue is you need to take T out of that trade. You do not need T. The buy low on T is catching a falling knife, not catching value. That's a horrible deal.
I like that.
T's perceived value versus what he actually does in your lineup is stupid. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like Laporta in redraft right now. Like he struggles to get 10 points a game. He's not worth anything in the trade market. It's about winning games and putting up points in redraft. That's just the sad truth of redraft. It is what it is. And you have the guy that's objectively the closest thing to a league winner, and he's trying to bend you over barrel for no reason.
Yeah,
get T out of the trade, rework it a little bit. I think without T, you can actually get something meaningful done where you don't have to give up a second piece. Try that, make it good. I get the feeling that this guy is not a great trade partner, though, because I would snap this deal if I were him.
I know. I couldn't believe that.
No.
The fact that he's not snapping means we've all had those trade guys where it's like they never accept the trade the way it is. They always have to counter no matter what. It's their thing. And I just want them to be in pain when they could have won the league by doing this deal. They didn't. But do something
If it was Evans over T, does that change your opinion at all? Mike Evans.
So Mike Evans, Walker, and Puka.
I'm not trading Jamar Chase.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not doing it either, but I just wanted to find out.
He's the wide receiver one on the season. He just dropped, depending on your league format, between 45 and 65 points with all these crazy bonus, these bonus leagues. So it's like,
no,
just move on.
Just move on. Yeah. Exactly. Me and Phil are on the same page. We love it. John goes Kyler or Cousins today. This one's easy for me. What about you guys?
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. Unanimous. I like it. He goes Otten or McBride. This we just talked about.
Otten. It's close though. I mean, but you can't go away from Otten right now.
Tyler was averaging 230 passing yards a game, sure, but
I'm going McBride. But yeah, I get Otten. Yeah, no, never mind. It's Otten. Never mind.
I literally have Otten as my tight end 3 right now, just behind Kittle and Kelsey.
Okay.
And then McBride is 4. But like
rest of season, yeah.
No, just this week right now. But I mean, that could be rest of season too. Actually, it's not a bad run.
So we got John in the house going. Should I trade Dobbs for Ray Davis? I'm deep at receiver and a little weak at running back. No.
I'm not starting Dobbs ever, so am I trading him for anything I can get? Probably. I mean, you're set at receiver, right? Which means if you're set at receiver, you're never starting Dobbs. So Dobbs is not on your roster. He's not.
Actually,
you drop him for anything on the waiver wire that was interesting. So this is, do I trade him for Ray Davis or do I drop him for the best on the waiver wire? What would you do?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'd probably take Davis unless Benson or someone like that was out there. Yeah, I would do it.
I would do it
because he can sometimes be flexible too. Like you just throw him in there, like in the week 14 by NATO or whatever.
Yeah,
he may be on that week 14 by. But you know what I'm saying? Like something like that. He could just have one of those touchdowns one day. Yeah. So like during that week 14, he might just be one of those.
You're right.
Throw him in there kind of guys. So again, especially if you need it for running back specifically. So yeah, I don't mind doing that.
So GT 2872. He goes, what about Rashad White? Feels like a blow up spot.
Will not have that blasphemy here, but no, I have him. I think at like 22 or 23. I have him right there at like low end RB2 this week against San Francisco.
I have him as a low end RB2 as well
because they're going to be in catch up mode.
Yeah, I got.
He's not.
We'll talk about that game next.
No,
we're talking about that game
first.
next. Yeah, we're talking about that game.
Just remember, there's a small bear on the defense. You got to get past a small bear to get to that green grass, buddy.
Exactly. Yes, so don't worry.
Don't worry.
On that note, we'll let you guys finish off, and we'll go pregame, and we'll jump out of here. But we'll see you guys soon. Part 2.
Yeah. I'm playing Phil this week. Of course, I'm drinking.
Yeah, you should. You should. You guys both should. Yeah, y'all hit that Chase Burrow.
I love you, buddy.
All right, guys.
All right, later, guys. So for those in the chat, we're going to be ending this show on Reese Thomas out there. Don't worry. We're going to just hand you guys right over to Phil and to Roster right after this. So you got a taste to see what they got and what they're thinking. They're going to be talking about that 49ers and Bucks game right after this. So GT 2872. Make sure you guys head right over to them right afterwards. So we got Bullseye. Pick 2 running backs for this week. Tyrone Tracy, Montgomery, Harris, and Rashad White. I can only pick 2. I can't pick all of them. I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy and Harris. And only
the
by
second one is like super
I want
close.
I want to say Montgomery, but Houston's rush defense is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, Harris has the better floor ceiling combo over Monty this week, and
they have
Rashad
the better
White. I
matchup.
don't like the floor ceiling combo as much. I'm going Tyrone Najee too, so in agreement.
Perfect. I like it. That you just face the Panthers and all will be forgiven. Jason Monroe, what's going on, brother? Great to have you back. Always glad to have you here. He goes, "What up, fellas? Ramondre Stevenson has a good rest of season schedule.
Yes.
You think he can be a good running back 2 through the playoffs and finals? I'm 7-2. Kamara's my RB1. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Look, they paid him, so he's not a player that
he's not going anywhere.
Forget about. He's on the team for a minute with money, so they're going to play him, and that's kind of all you need, right? The biggest thing you worry about with these bad teams is that they're going to play for the future and blow everything up and all your starters are gone. That's not the case in this particular scenario. So because of that, I think it gives you a lot of stability. They just don't want Drake May injured as well. And so having a passing outlet so that he can have they'd rather Ramondre get blown up than Drake May straight up. So I do think he is a good play rest of season. Very stable.
I'm going to try to read this because I know that it's a lot of there's a lot of things going on here. Is there a scenario where the Bengals pull all their starters before week 17's final? Got it.
No, they don't have enough wins.
No, they won't get to that point. And they probably at this point, they're going to be playing through week 17. It's very rare for them to pull guys that early. It's usually week 18, if anything.
It would would have to lose a bunch of games for that to happen. I do think that's a very realistic scenario. If they lose a bunch of games, they would do that. I don't see them doing
rare
that.
Though.
So because of that, the question is there a scenario?
And it would be there is a scenario, but it's very rare to happen in this.
That's the scenario, though. It's not what I think he's asking, which is like, would it happen on a winning streak? Which is, I think we're saying no.
Yeah. So Bullseye, he goes, pick 1 tight end for rest of season. Oh, I hate these questions. We have Mark Andrews, Mike Gesicki, Taysom Hill, Zach Ertz, or Jonnu Smith.
Oh,
Ew.
wow.
My brain is telling me Mark Andrews.
It is Mark Andrews. It's between Andrews, Taysom Hill, and Zach Ertz.
Yeah. And the reason
Zach Ertz is close, but he's not there. Taysom has the most upside next to Andrews, but for me personally, at this point, the Ravens' offense is clearly the most upside.
Yeah.
The rest of these offenses, like the Saints, could suck unbelievably bad. The Commanders are actually really, really good, but even when they're good, Ertz is good, not great. So I think, and my question is like, at least for me, it's down to Ertz and Andrews because Taysom Hill and Gesicki are too volatile. If you're trying to really win a championship, I think you need some semblance of consistency.
Yeah.
Andrews has the touchdown upside and is now getting the targets. It's close, though. I think it's close. Like, I think Ertz is actually safer than Andrews. Ertz has decent competition behind him in a pretty meaningful way, though, too, that I think is worthwhile. Likely is banged up. If I think Likely comes back and hurts Andrews a little bit, but while Likely is off the field, Andrews doing his thing. If they just keep that the way it is, Andrews has the best combination of floor, ceiling, and offensive ecosystem. When you combine that all together, it's Andrews. Individual pieces say Taysom can have a good game. The rest of season's a bridge too far. Same with the rest of them.
Oh, 100%. And Gesicki's only good when T. Higgins is out. And for me, that could mean right now he could be back next week or the week after. And you're only going to get a couple weeks at it, Mike Gesicki out of that. He's a little volatile in that case. Same thing with Taysom Hill. I like Mark Andrews rest of the season. He'll be fine. Reese Thomas, what's going on, man? He goes, do I drop Brooks for Ray Davis in my running back 2 spot?
Nope.
No, I can't do it. I want to see what happens with Brooks and how they utilize him. I love Ray Davis so far this season. if there's another way to get him on your bench, I would do it, but it is not for Brooks.
Brooks is more talented, is going to have a higher snap share, a more meaningful role in the offense. Brooks is just a better version of Ray Davis in a worse offense.
Yeah.
But I'm still
100%.
taking the better version of him in the worse offense.
Yeah. And Justin, I'm going to throw your question in just because it was at the end. Yeah, it's Laporta. We just said it before. Taysom's hard to trust for the rest of the season. I love the guy. We both love him to death, but it's just not going to happen.
Goff has great matchups, dome games. The regression to the passing touchdowns should come at some point in time, and he's been unlucky both with tipped in the end zone, but they've been specifically scheming him to get red zone looks, and he's been unlucky.
No problem there, Justin. We appreciate your time. Thank you for all that have been in the chat today. Everybody, GT, Bullseye, Reese, Jason, IDK, Antonio, John, Patrick Lario, as always, Justin, Thomas, Kai, Jermaine, Dylan. I could go on. There's so many people in here. BJ Lowe. Really appreciate everybody here. Smokey the Cat, Wicked, Lucius. All you guys have been really doing a great job in there. So we appreciate everybody and all your questions. Just hold on 2 seconds if you're watching. We're going to be handing you guys right over to our guys, Ross and Phil, who decided to jump us and, step into our particular stream just so that they can say hi. Make sure you guys check out our rest of the season schedule. We also have our Saturday show as well in there as well with the guys, Zach and Cody at the Sweet Life. So check them out as well. Also, make sure, if you haven't already, check out TrophySmack.com. It's getting to that point in the year that we're getting those trophies ready. Got to get it ready for your league. Make sure you guys check out TrophySmack.com. Use the promo code GETRIGHT, and they will help you at checkout. You can customize things like this belt, your ring, a Kirk Cousins chain, or their famous trophies. Make sure you guys check out TrophySmack.com, one of the best in the business. Like I said, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a wonderful week 10. Kendall, it's always a wonderful time sitting with you and talking football the whole day. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Do you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Tip your waitresses and waitresses. Have a beer on me. Catch you on Sunday.
Strobatten, as much as I would love to answer your question, we're walking right out of here. I'll try to answer it in the chat after we leave. But make sure you guys check out the group right after us. Don't worry. We'll get to you guys. Peace out, everybody. Good luck in week 10. We'll see you guys later.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking off and